Hello, welcome back. Okay, we're not gonna waste any motherfucking time today. 0 time wasted. Negative time wasted. Starting right now. Opening up game right now. Boom, hitting play right now. I don't know how many chapters this is gonna have, but I don't have an omega long time to stream today. Hopefully we can get like 4 chapters done. That might be the goal. So we're gonna try to go relatively fast-paced. There we go. Okay. Like I said, no fucking around. Not really much to cover from my notes from yesterday. Everything in this chapter... I gotta open my notes, actually. I don't really think there's a whole lot left to write, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know how much more I can, like... I mean, the game's kind of just explaining everything at this point, you know? We're kind of pulling the curtain back, so I don't really know how much more note-taking I'll have to do. You know? We'll just, you know, roll with the punches. I thought my game was turned down. It's just my client-side sound. One second, let me turn my sound up. Okay. Here we go. Also, there's a very good possibility I lose power today because it is so fucking windy here. So, just letting you as a forewarning, if the stream cuts out randomly and I don't say anything, it's probably because of the wind. What? I know I've heard some people mention it before, but they were serious about that. This world always has a lot of nice suggestions, but they're mostly out of politeness, right? They're just something you laugh off and reply with, that would be nice. But those ideas generally end as jokes, so it's crazy when they turn real. Yeah, I'm serious. Uncle Yoshiro was giving you a ton of praise, too. He said it was amazing how well that pop-up pirate game went in the toy store yesterday. I had no idea you could play that game like that. I should mention that some of the kids around my table wanted to play with you, too. Keiichi is a genius when it comes to playing games. You know, I wasn't just playing around. I was giving it my all, because I had no choice but to win. I guess we made it look like a lot of fun for the audience, though. You know what they should have done in this? I know they do it here, but with like the quotations. The only thing they could do to make this text log a little bit more clear would be to like just have Keiichi, like just throw his name here, or you could color the text in the log at least so you know who's saying what, but... You definitely have a blast no matter what cloud activity you're doing, Kay. Why is she on here? The coach was saying that the Hinamizawa fighters would be so happy if you joined the team. It's very true. Dr. Ari had nothing but great things to say about you at the meeting last night, Maebara. You have the ability to bring people joy and far more than you think you do. You think so? Am I like the main character, bro? This old man didn't mention your name just because you're his friend. He did it because he's confident you can do the job. I was there at the meeting too, and no one was against the idea. Meibara, you honestly do have a good reputation around the village. I've heard good things about you in Okinomiya too. What you did in the match between the Hinamizawa fighters and the Okinomiya Titans was legendary, so that this was, I'm guessing, the same thing that happened with Satoko. See, this is the part where, like, I understand what the game is saying in terms of, like, the rules and about how not everything is, like, predestined to happen, and that, you know, you need, like, there has to be, like, a strong conviction for something to happen for it to happen in every line. But, man, I really don't know how I feel about the logistics of the swapping, I guess. Like, I don't know how to describe this, but I have a little bit of problem grasping the idea that, I don't know how to put this. So, for instance, like, I can maybe understand the baseball thing, but I don't know. It feels like there's some events that don't really make sense without the prior ones that follow them. So it seems sort of weird, and maybe it'll make more sense if I were to, like, if I was more familiar, because, again, the event they're talking about happened in Chapter 3. At this point, I played Chapter 3 like a month ago, so it does kind of make sense that maybe, you know, it's not 100% stuck in my mind. But I don't know. We'll see. It really was incredible. The reporters were there to see Kameda, but they were more impressed by you. They're talking about that rigged baseball match I set up with Kameda. The public did end up believing that talented pitcher walked me out of fear for my insight. Kameda and I have entered a strange relationship since then, but I'd really rather not talk about it right now. What do you think, Keiichi? I think you can do it. I'm backing you up too. I definitely think you should be in charge of the Watanagashi Planning Committee. Watanagashi is an annual village festival held in June. It's supposed to be the biggest event in the village, and most of the people living here gather together for it. Since this is a major event, they always organize a committee to plan out the festival a few months in advance. The festival is only 2 weeks away and I just moved to this village, but now they want me to join that committee? Look, first of all, I don't even know what you do in a committee. You don't need to be too concerned about it. The job we unanimously want you to fill is hosting the auction. What the hell is that? Do you want me to sell bananas or something? Well, let me explain. We're holding an auction event for the first time this year. We're going to auction off donated items just to see how it turns out. It's kind of a long story behind it. We wanted to do something in which everyone can participate using donated items as prizes. But the elder members decided to distribute the prizes using something other than a lottery for their own reasons. Put it simply, our hag of a grandmother let her temper get to her and wouldn't back down after that. But she didn't really consider any specifics. Yep. Anyway, we had to come up with how to utilize those donated items. At that point, we thought of doing an auction. That sounds like fun. You might be able to get something good for a really cheap price. It's fun just to watch the show, too. The items were all donated, so they were free, huh? That committee sure is good at making money. The profit will be going into the beer fund for the village committee's winter getaway trip. It's not fair. You're not ready for beer yet, Furude. I think I understand what's going on now, but still, I've never done anything like it before. I'm sure you can do it, Keiichi. I bet you'd do really well if they told you that you get to keep 10% of the profits. Well, yeah, if I can gain something for producing results, then I'll do my best at it. On the other hand, you might be facing a dreadful penalty game if you don't produce anything. Wait a minute, Satoko. Why would I agree to a risky deal like that? Don't forget, they're the ones asking for my help. I'm a very busy guy, you know. Try asking my agent first. Hahaha. Alright, Kei. If you want some kind of compensation, we can talk about it. I really want you to be a part of this. We can make a deal. That sounds interesting. I wonder what I should ask for. We're always talking about punishments, but it's our first time talking about a reward. That's true. We're always fighting for something, huh? Rina's right. The whole purpose of our club activities is to escape the punishments we come up with. Even if we win, we never get a prize or reward for it. Keiichi has no idea how to respond to something that sounds too good to be true. Maybe me can come up with a good idea. It's hard to decide on what you want, isn't it? Let me see. How about this? An admission ticket to Angel Mort's dessert fiesta. Don't be too cheap, sis. Why don't you give him 3 years worth of admission? Hey, that sounds more like a deluxe reward to me. I heard that some people pay lots of money for that ticket. Are you sure you can hook me up with 3 years worth of admission? Of course I can, but you have to do a good job. I'm sure you will. With Keiichi there, it's gonna be heaps of fun. I feel the same way. I'm really looking forward to the auction now. Yeah, you could probably get people to line up for takoyaki that doesn't even contain octopus. Which, of course, you know, hey, takoyaki without octopus, that's impossible. No, I'm pretty sure you could do it. Yeah, he'd probably say it was a healthier kind of takoyaki. Are you making fun of me or what? Rika sitting here just having like a fucking PTSD meltdown. So what do you think, Maybara? I think you'll do a wonderful job. Chie was also on the committee. She must have backed up Mion's suggestion when she brought my name up at their last meeting. I'd also love to see what kind of magic you can do. Nipa. Good auction always depends on how good a speaker the host is. Sounds like it's going to be Keiichi Maybara's big show. It'll be so much fun just to watch. Hey, I haven't accepted the offer yet. Don't worry, Keiichi, you can do it. You're saying that because you don't have to. It's not true. The principal suddenly opened his mouth. No, I thought we were going to get art for the principal. Maybara, in my opinion, you will do a fine job. As a man, isn't it your responsibility to meet people's expectations? If I had to, I'm sure I could do it. Mion has made me do so many different things for the club, and I've learned a lot from that. Besides, this would be the first time I could get a reward without having to worry about punishment. It should be fun, too. This was the first time so many people were counting on me like this. To be honest, it made me pretty happy. Still, I was worried about getting dragged into something that required a lot of work. I couldn't erase that thought from my mind. But I was in Hinamizawa. The people in this village would never do anything to betray me. They genuinely believed that it would do a lot to liven up the festival if I became the host of their auction. I've only been here for a short period of time, but I know that the people here are honest and kind. Fine, as a man, I'm gonna do it. I'll take care of it. Wait and see. I'll make it the greatest auction in the world. Don't forget to get me that Angel Mart pass. I'll make sure to do a good enough job that I'll deserve 10 years worth of tickets. Good for you, Kay. Everyone gave me a round of applause. How many times had this happened in my life? Not once. This was the first time I'd ever been applauded. By the way, I'm surprised that no one disagreed with this suggestion at the meeting. There are lots of old people in the village committee. I'm a young guy who only just moved here. I've known for a while that Mion has a lot of influence locally, but I couldn't believe that everyone in the committee would accept it just like that. Most of them are the kind of hard-headed old people, but the new generation is gradually taking over, you know? We won the dam conflict, and now we're aiming to build a new era and grow more and more prosperous. That's why we value the involvement of young people and people from outside the village, too. You're young, and you're from the city. You also have a good reputation, so you're the perfect guy for this. I have a good reputation, huh? I have no idea why so many people have heard of me. It's something to do with me's punishments, I think. I knew it! Everyone laughs. Alright then. I'll call your parents about it tonight, so please let them know when you get back home today, okay? I'm sure my parents will have no problem with it. They won't have any objections to raise, at least. They might ask me why my name was brought up, though. Chie and the principal went back to the teacher's office after the discussion ended. We were in the middle of lunch break at the moment. Chie and the principal had come along together, and Mion scared me by saying that they all had something to talk to me about. My stomach wasn't digesting my lunch particularly well. Maybara, I heard everything. Good for you. It's a big honor being chosen by the village committee. Hey there, Tomita and Okamura. I'd love to give that honor to you. No, thank you. I wouldn't be able to handle it. I realized the whole class was talking about me. They were saying how fun Watanagashi was going to be and how high their expectations were for it. I might have taken on a huge responsibility. I need to do my best to succeed at it. By the way, I forgot something. My granny made tons of ohagi. She told me to give them to my classmates. Mion clapped her hands as she remembered and took a box out of her bag. She opened the lid, letting us see a bunch of ohagi neatly packed inside. Wow, there really are a lot. I think there might be enough for everyone in the class to have one. It looks so yummy and cute. For some reason, my granny loves making ohagi. Because Sohei used to love them. Yeah, I heard my gramps used to like ohagi. That's the first time second time I think we've actually heard his name. He ate tons of them. For your grandma, ohagi is something that makes you remember your late grandpa, huh? You think so? I thought gramps liked canned food. Okay, dude, Shion. You don't like canned food, do you, Shion? What? Is that true? Why so? Well, it's because of the smell. I just don't like the smell of the metal. Oh, is that so? After always forcing me to eat my squash, it turns out that you too have something you can't eat. To tell you the truth, she hates canned food because... She's not going to tell the incident. I'm assuming it's because of the rumor about the canned human meme. Come on, sis. Don't you dare tell anyone. I don't know what's going on, but it seems Mion knows a secret about Shion. Tell it to us, go on. The reason why Shion doesn't like canned food must have been something pretty funny. The two sisters battled for a while. Machine gun knee kicks Mion launched from close quarters weren't bad, but I don't think she expected Shion to land a capture suplex off it. Guess Shion is the stronger of the two siblings. Well, I'd rather tell you the truth than have you hear it from my sis. See, there's this bad guy named Kasai. He once told me, when I was still young and innocent, that there's sometimes human meat mixed in with canned food. I've heard of an urban legend like that before. Me too. I once heard that there's dog meat mixed into beef bowls and worms inside burgers. Big, extra flavor. Are you quite serious? I can never eat beef bowls or burgers again after hearing something like that. See, Satoko? It's a very traumatic thing for me. You have my sympathy, but I still have yet to forget about how you made me eat a full-course squash meal. You need to let go of that one. That meal was delicious. Because we're talking about this, oops. I'm starting to get worried there might be something mixed into this ohagi too. Yeah, like a needle. Oh, at least with the ohagi that I brought, you can't really be sure that there's nothing else inside. Ohagi that Mion brought, when you consider that, it's only natural to suspect that she probably did something to him. What's going on? I felt like I was forgetting something. But I didn't remember anything that I was forgetting. It was like one of those deja vu moments. I'd never been in this situation, but my mind was telling me that I'd been there before. What's wrong, Keiichi? Nothing. Just feel like Mion has given me ohagi before, but this is the first time, right? Is it? Me? I think this is the first time. You must be mistaking it for something else. According to my memory, this is the first time Mion has brought ohagi to school. Rika's just PTSDing. Ah, I know. You're being cautious because these are from this old man, aren't you? It's nothing to brag about. I think you should be reflecting on your regular behavior. You're right. I wouldn't feel this way if Rina brought me ohagi. Rina's really good at cooking. They're small but very carefully made. Huh? I've never made ohagi before. What? What was I saying? Why did I say that Rina had made ohagi before? Dude, I gotta Google this, because I'm sorry, I'm so confused. Okay. So it's kind of just like ohagi mochi. Okay, that's why. Because in the first chapter, see, this is the thing, I don't know Japanese foods and shit. And so in the first chapter, it literally said, like, oh, they brought me mochi. At least I think they did. And then I remember sitting there, like, every single time since they said ohagi, and I'm like, the fuck is going on? Like, but they're just the same thing. It's just like a type of mochi, I guess. This is the thing that I don't know, because I'm not Japanese, and I'm not that much of a weeb, so. Okay. Sorry. Why would I know that Rina makes her ohagi small but neatly? I had no idea where that memory was coming from. Could only assume it was an error in my brain. Mion was saying this was her first time bringing ohagi to class. As I tilted my head in confusion, everyone started reaching inside the box. Rina took out one for me and put it on the lid. I stared at it closely. What was I so concerned about? Mion said that I was probably concerned that she did something to the ohagi, but it wasn't quite that. I really didn't know how to explain it. I felt like I was forgetting something important. I'd forgotten something important, and all I had was the obligation to remember it. In front of me was nothing but a simple ohagi that came from Mion's house. I was frustrated, but I really couldn't think of anything. There's no way I could remember it, because I didn't know anything. Keiichi, you've been staring at your ohagi for a long time. What's the matter? Oh, it's just, I'm experiencing deja vu. Don't you get it sometimes? It's your first time seeing something, but you feel like you've seen it before? So, you feel like Mion has given you ohagi in the past? I'm sure it's just my imagination. Mion just told me that she never had brought ohagi to school before. Keiichi, you can't have memories of what didn't happen. If you remember something, I'm sure it really did happen before. Rika told me something strange. I didn't usually take her random comments seriously, but ever since I saw her making those predictions in the toy store, I've been curious about her special powers. I felt like she was telling me something deep. It's weird to hear that from you since you're so great at making predictions. Are you talking about the cycle of reincarnation or something? I don't know much about religion. I just want to tell you that if you know about something, if you know about something, that's something that happened to you. I want you to try and remember what happened. I don't want you to treat it like you're just mistaken. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I guess? I was a little surprised by how serious she sounded. I always thought Rika was just an innocent girl who fooled around all the time, saying things like meep and nipa. But all of a sudden she seemed like a totally different girl. Was I supposed to take it as a joke? The serious look on her face told me it wasn't the time for jokes though. If that's what you're telling me, then I guess I got Ohagi from Mion in a previous life. I won't make fun of you, so please tell me everything. Why did me give you that Ohagi? The more I think about it, the more I think it's just my imagination. Maybe it was just a dream. I don't care if it was a dream. You must remember something. Please tell me. What was up with her? She seemed so curious about it. I didn't think this story was that interesting. Her asking so much started making me feel uncomfortable. Still, something told me that I needed to talk to Rika about everything I could. Maybe she could predict my future by reading my dreams. I should tell her everything. After all, she's the shrine maiden for Oyashiro. Well, I think I skipped school that day. I had a cold or something. My memory was scattered all over my brain like powder. Some white cocaine. I could see myself standing in front of the door. Mion was there, and someone else was standing there too. I think it was Rina. Mion brought me Ohagi so I would get better. I think she told me that her grandma made it, just like today. And then... well, then I ate that Ohagi after they went back home. Then I found something inside the Ohagi. I'm sure I saw it in a comic book or something. It's mixed up in my memory, but I'm sure I read it somewhere in some comic book, because it can't be true. Keiichi, tell me what happened. What did you find inside the Ohagi? Well, I read this scary comic book when I was little, and there was a sewing needle inside of somebody's burger. You remember what Shion was saying just now? It can be traumatic to hear a story like that when you're young. I didn't remember much about that comic. I think it was about this girl who had an accident and held a grudge against the person who caused the injury on her face. It was a really cheap plot now that I think about it, but since I was a little kid, that comic really scared me. In one chapter, the girl casts a curse on the guy's food. He eats a burger with sewing needles inside it, and he goes all, yeah, something like that. It still freaked me out. The image was so grotesque and shocking to me. That grew into a kind of trauma, and for a while I searched for sewing needles in my food every time I ate something. I couldn't eat burgers for a while for that reason, but my parents got concerned and my hunger overcame the trauma. Eventually that experience disappeared into the flow of time. Still a little worried about sewing needles every once in a while. I don't think about it all the time, of course. It'd be pretty rude if I poked at my food while eating lunch with you guys, wouldn't it? Of course I know that no one would actually put a sewing needle inside of my food. But you're still a little scared. Well, maybe I am somewhere inside my heart. So, you saw a sewing needle inside the Ohagi that me gave you. You saw a sewing needle inside of one? Yeah, I did. Inside that Ohagi there was a needle, just as I feared. Why was I telling her about something that was just my imagination? Mion and Rina came to see me when I took a day off from school when I was sick. That never happened, so obviously my brain was just making it up. But I spoke to Rika because she said she wouldn't make fun of me. Are you afraid of this Ohagi now? Do you feel like there might be a needle inside? Is that why you're not eating it? I realized that Mion and Rina were also looking at me. They were wondering why I was staring at the Ohagi without eating it. Oh, you don't like Ohagi, Kei? If you don't have to eat it. Mion was assuming that I didn't like Ohagi. She felt bad for forcing me to eat something I didn't like. In turn, I felt guilty seeing the sad expression on her face. Says he must be convinced that you put something in it. I immediately denied Shion's remark. No one else would understand what I'm saying. Even I didn't know. No, I know for sure that there's no sewing needle inside this Ohagi. A sewing needle? Why would this old man put something like that in there? Of course you wouldn't. You're not the type to visit and bring something with you out of pure generosity. You might play a trick with Tabasco sauce or something, but you'd never put needles inside. I would agree with that statement. You'd never do something as dangerous as that. I know you would never do such a thing. Such a thing? Did he say such a thing? No, he'd do such a thing. I grabbed the Ohagi with my hand. As I brought it in front of my mouth, I felt the need to check it just in case, but I told myself clearly, hey, you wimp. When are you going to stop being scared of that stupid comic book? Mion brought these Ohagi to treat everyone in the class. There's no way she'd put needles inside of these. I forced that stupid memory out of my brain and munched on the Ohagi. It's delicious. Of course it is. There wasn't a needle inside, was there? No way. I'm really sorry. Just caught up in a traumatic experience I once had. My heart stopped pounding and I felt relieved. The next moment I got the urge to say something to Mion. It wasn't the right thing to say, but I felt like I had to say it. Hey, Mion. I wonder if he's going to say I'm sorry. The Ohagi was delicious. Huh? I'm glad I brought them then, even though they were really heavy. I didn't know why I wanted to tell her again that the Ohagi was delicious, but I was glad I said that to her. I was finally released from that odd feeling. Dispelling the darkness, perhaps? Well then, since Kei overcame his fears and ate the Ohagi, you should eat this squash, Satoko. It's so soft and sweet. How can that lunchbox always be so full of squash? You're gonna give me a traumatic experience. Ha! She is trying so hard to stop Satoko from hating squash. She's so passionate about it. Maybe she sees her as a future little sister. Good memes. By the time I finished eating my ohagi, we would return to our usual fun lunchtime. Keiichi, what if? What if what? What if you really do see a needle inside your food? What would you do? That's not gonna happen. Don't you threaten me, Rika. Keiichi, what if it really happens? Rika looked at me with a serious face as I joked around. What's gotten into her lately? Stop it. It's not gonna happen, and I don't believe it will. I had just overcome my stupid trauma after all that. That's why I made that firm statement. I understand. Keiichi, I'm sorry I'm asking you so much. If you see a needle inside your food, it's definitely some kind of mistake. Please don't ever believe that it's me's fault. You're just trying to tell me not to be suspicious of Mion, right? Of course I won't. I would never be suspicious of one of my friends. I raised my fist in the air. Rika finally looked happy. She smiled as if she was relieved by my words. Because this is like her basically marking off one person who won't fall to Rule X, ideally. Because she can divert like a chapter 1 timeline with this. Drink some water. I was gonna say, I was gonna wonder if I was gonna play as Rika, but it doesn't seem like it. The items donated for the auction were gathered at the Furude Shrine. There's so much stuff here. I expected to see towels and old furniture, but there are way more things than that. I even see TVs and refrigerators. These are pretty new, too. Huh, impressed, huh? We got donations from the stores my family owns. Some of them were display products or leftovers that they can't sell, but they're still practically brand new. You don't mind something a model behind, they're incredible, right? Seeing how sun-bleached the brand new sticker on these appliances are makes me feel kind of sorry for them. No, Satoko, that's actually a big selling point. Even if it's a little faded, people feel better using brand new tools than they do items someone else used. Youngsters these days sure are picky. Huh, I don't really care whether it's new or not, all I care about is the price. Rina, you seem interested in furniture. Are you thinking about living on your own or something? Oh no. My dad and I were just talking about redecorating the house. Brand new furniture is expensive, so I've been checking out these recycled ones. You're changing the furniture? It's quite a big deal. Yep. My dad finally found a job recently. So we kind of want to make a fresh start out of it. Your father found a new job? Rika asked her. I was thinking the same thing. Did that mean Rina's father was unemployed until recently? Yeah, he didn't work for a whole year after he broke up with my mom. I was so upset. I was always telling him to go get a job already. Rina explained that with her usual smile, so it took me a moment to realize how serious it was. If what she said was true, her parents were divorced and she wasn't living in a very good family environment. Rina talked about it like it was nothing. Your mother and father broke up? Yep. They got divorced back in the town we were living in before. That's why my dad and I came back to Hinamizawa. My dad couldn't get over the divorce for a long time, though. He was always just sleeping or daydreaming. Divorces and breakups always wound deeper the more they love their partner. It's not really a bad thing that your father was hurt so much. Huh, it's a romantic way to put it. Anyway, I eventually found out that he was spending a lot of money at the bar. I was shocked when I looked at our bank account. Rina's mom is a famous designer. Their family used to make lots of money. So her father got lots of settlement money upon the divorce. Yeah, Squad W, damn right. That's why he was able to pay for their living expenses for a while. Why is Rina saying this? This doesn't make sense. This is like... Their family used to make a lot of money, so her father got lots of settlement upon the divorce. That's why he was able to pay for their living expenses for a while. Perhaps that was why it took him so long to get back on track. This just doesn't make sense for Rina to say this. This sounds like this should be Mion saying this, but it's fine. That's true. If he had no money, he would have had no choice but to work. He would have had no time to be depressed if he kept himself busy. Oh, let's not get down this conversation. It's tough leaving an ordinary pattern of life. It can really mess up people's cycles. I understand that because I was that way for a while after I left the academy. Staying at home like a hermit is the worst thing you can do. Yo, chill, Rika. It's quarantine, okay? You're exactly right, Rika. That's why I had a talk with him. We talked about his responsibilities as the head of the household and as a parent. You always look like you're fooling around, but you're actually the most reliable person in the group. I'm impressed that you even spoke to your father like that. Huh, it wasn't a big deal. I was shocked at first. I know that my dad was spending his money on some lady. As his daughter, it really hurt to find that out. And then... What did you do? Well, it was no good to think about it on my own. I just kept thinking in a negative way. So I spoke to me about it. So that crisis avoided was in chapter 6, so all I did was listen to her. Rena was the one who faced her problems and came to the conclusion of talking with her dad about them. I didn't give her any advice. But that was the important thing. Talking to people about your problems can calm you down a lot. Is that so? If she overcame it just by talking to Sis, maybe her problem wasn't that serious. Not true, she. Before I spoke to Mion, all I thought about was how to hurt that lady, but I realized that wasn't a good solution at all. Taking it out with him was the important thing, or talking it out. So what happened after you spoke with him? Well, we concluded that he wasn't moving on because of the money, so he transferred the funds to a different account and I took charge of them. Now my dad has to get an allowance from me every month. It's as though you're the parent now. Everyone else laughed along with Satoko. I wasn't sure if I should laugh, but I saw Rena laughing. It's a little bit fucked up. I probably wouldn't laugh. It's kind of sad more so, but... Anyway, the money was keeping her father from moving on. As soon as he remembered the value of money, he stopped going to that shady bar and got a job. It really was perfect timing. He was getting ready to pay the down payment for this lady's apartment. That would have been a mess. You talk about it like it's nothing, but it's a pretty serious story. Your family could have been ruined. That's true. If I didn't talk to me and kept on thinking about it on my own, I don't know where I would have been by now. I probably would have been chopping up some bodies under a tree. I think I probably would have tried to kill that lady. Everyone laughed at hearing such a dangerous thing come out of Rena's mouth. Rena laughed too, but I saw something serious in her eyes. It's probably true that she once thought about murdering that lady. She seduced Rena's father so that she could get money out of him. Knowing how short-tempered I am, I might do the same if that happened to me. I think she made the right decision in talking to Mion instead of being irrational. I'm impressed. It's not that easy to talk about your family issues. I know. It took me a while to make the decision to talk to me, but that one dream changed everything. Whoa, a dream? Dream? I'm a huge fan. Minecraft Manhunt? I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh god, why is my stream on mute? I refreshed it because it was out of sync, and I heard myself laugh. Yep. Every night in bed I'd think about my problems, so I was troubled even in my dreams. In my dream I thought about what would have happened to me, or what would happen to me if I didn't do anything. I don't know if what I saw was my imagination or a prediction of the future. I'll put a note for this. In my dream, I saw that lady living with us in our home. My dad and I don't smoke, but there was an ashtray in the living room. The futon in our guest room was now hers. In the bathroom, there was a toothbrush and shampoo I'd never choose to buy. It was an unusual sight. That must have been a very difficult and disgusting situation. Toko never told me, but I'd heard that she also lost her parents. I'd heard that she went through tough times when she was taken in by her aunt and uncle. Someone told me about that once. Toko seemed to understand Rena's plan very well, or pain very well. Jesus. Yeah, it was a really disheartening situation. Eventually I felt like I didn't belong there anymore. Then something urged me to kill her. That sounds so realistic for a dream. What happened after that? I realized I was a murderer. I didn't want anybody to find out about it, and I stopped trusting anyone. I spent all day at the place I buried her. I was afraid that if I left that place, someone would find out that I killed her. It's a nightmare. Glad it was just a dream for you. I don't know. I wonder if it was just a dream. I think I saw my future, that would have happened if I didn't do anything about the situation. I woke up the next morning shaking in fear. I even felt like I smelled her perfume at home. I wondered when that dream was going to come true. I was so afraid, and that pushed me to talk to me. I remembered Rena coming up to me and telling me that she had a secret to tell me. I honestly thought she'd gotten a positive on a pregnancy test for a moment. I can talk about it like this now, but it was very serious then. Mia is a really dependable person. She listened to me and guided me through a solution. Eventually we decided that I needed to talk with him face to face. Perhaps it wasn't just a dream. You're right. I think it was more than that. Without that dream, it's possible that you never would have spoken to Mion. That could have changed your life dramatically. A dream, huh? You've had dreams too, Shion. Huh? Shion had said something in a small voice. Only Mion picked up on what it was. I don't know what she said, but based, I didn't get to see it, but based on Mion's reaction, she must have said something serious. By the way, Shion usually went to school in Okinomiya. However, she'd been coming to the school in Hinamizawa lately. Thank you, I was about to say. I didn't know why she chose to come this far, but she seemed to be having fun taking care of Satoko. I had no idea what brought Shion and Satoko together. Wait, weren't they on bad terms once? Huh? Is that true? Were they always that close or not? Now I know. It's important to talk to other people. We'll have fun in a normal way. We'll laugh together in a normal way, and we'll fall in love in a normal way. We won't doubt each other. We'll trust each other. Friends have greater meaning than I thought. You can talk to them about anything. I finally came to realize that. You're right. You resolve not only your family issues, but you also realize the importance of friendship. Yeah, if anyone is troubled by something, I want to help. I really do. I want everyone to think that they can talk to me about their problems. Meep? Rina's saying something very important right now. Rika's right. We all nodded at her without joking around. A moment later, we heard someone locking the door. We were all surprised. That person didn't mean to lock the door. She must have locked it by accident, not knowing that it was already open. She turned the knob, thinking that it was now unlocked. Huh? Is anybody inside? The lady knocked on the door. I could hear several other people outside the door. Oh, sorry, let me open it. Mion replied in a loud voice and walked towards the door. I heard her greeting the ladies from the town council. Hey, will you guys lend a hand? What is it? I immediately saw why Mion called us over. People from the village committee had brought another donation. It was an old cupboard. We all helped to carry it inside the room. As I walked through the door, I realized the Higurashi were starting to cry, taking over from the cicadas. Well, the game did say this would only end when the Higurashi cries, so... I heard you're going to host the auction, Meibara. Everyone thinks you're the best man for that job. We're all looking forward to seeing your showmanship. Oh, I'll do my best, but please don't expect too much from me. Sure, you say. You're here today so you can come up with an idea of how to sell these items. They have every reason to expect great things from you. I'll make sure I'm at my best then. The other ladies smiled and told me they were looking forward to it. Keiichi, MILF Hunter. It hadn't been that long since I moved to the village, but even these people offered me a position of huge responsibility during the festival, so you could say that they've accepted me as a member of the village. I caused so much trouble where I lived before that I couldn't even go outside, but they're accepting me as a member of this village? I was so happy. Felt bad that I still hadn't learned all their names, but I was going to do my best to entertain the villagers who were supporting me. What are you going to do now, Mion? Are you staying here? Nah, we're going to go home. Now. Right, Kay? Yep, I got a good idea of what we have here. I should be fine now. I'm not interested in Watanagashi, but I do still want to see his auction. Maybe I'll come to the festival too. You absolutely must be there, Shion. It'll be great fun if we all hang out together. I disagree. She lives in Okinomiya, so she should go to the festival there. Based. Huh, I think she should come. Being me will prove entertaining if she does. Since most of us want her to be here, it's decided that she is going to come. You hear that, sis? You'll be in my shadow on the day of the festival, but let's at least be nice to each other. Ugh. I hate you, Shion. I hate you, Shion. Whatever Mion says, I know that they're actually close. The more Mion tried to refuse her, the more it was obvious how close they really were. Right, let's go. Make sure you get everything. I'm turning off the light now. We made sure that we didn't leave anything inside and left the room. I looked around the shrine grounds while Mion locked the door. Oops, I keep right-clicking. I don't know why I'm a fucking absolute dumbass. This big place will be filled with people on the day of Watanagashi. These grounds are going to be the site of the festival. Man, I can't even imagine the crowd. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of stalls, and it'll be packed with people. You'll be surprised, I think. I wish they'd quit being stingy and hold something every season instead of once a year. That reminds me, there is someone who visits every season. Tomatage. Huh? Who are you talking about? Oh, I know who you mean. It's that photographer I met the other day, isn't it? What was his name? You know Tomatake, Keiichi? That's right, it was Tomatake. I met him on my way back home. Rina and Mion told me about him. Despite his burly frame, he's a fairly modest guy. Comes here every year to take pictures, right? That is what he claims, at least. I have like a Monka W that we're gonna learn some scary things about Tomatake, because again, man, said this for a while. There's maybe some reason why Takano gets killed, like if you think about like the whole scrapbooks meme, if you think about like the potential of damage they could cause, but There's got to be a reason why Tomatake is getting killed, and there's got to be a reason why he's using an alias, okay? This is the Tomatake chapter, I can feel it. Whenever I see him, I feel like Watanagashi's close by, and after Watanagashi, it's the beginning of summer. That's true, but the cicadas are already crying because it's gotten hot early this year. I heard on TV that this year is unusual. It's something to do with a thing called global warming. I love a hot summer. It's not a proper summer if it's cool. Yeah, I agree. I like the different climates of the seasons. Cool summers and warm winters disappoint me. We gotta be as passionate as a hot summer too. How many of us are gonna be there at the festival? Excuse me, it's gonna be a battle of the 6 evils. Once again, we'll have a great Watanagashi this year. I agree. Dude, it also sucks for Rika because she just has to waste time every single Watanagashi just doing that stupid fucking routine that she has to do for the ceremony. It's a little bit unlucky there. I agree. I hope we'll have lots of fun. Hey Rina, don't you know, when Rika says something like that, it's not just that what she hopes for, it's a prediction. If Rika is telling us that it's going to be great, it really is going to be great. That's our fate, right Rika? Yeah, that's our fate. Rika smiled with a nipa. Her smile assured me that the day of Watanagashi was going to be a great one for us. The auction won't be starting right away, will it? Nah, it's going to be right before the ritual dance, so we'll have plenty of time to hang out together. Indeed. It's your first festival. You deserve to have fun. After Kei's auction, we get to see Rika's ritual dance. Sounds good to me. That means I don't get to see Keiichi the whole time. I have to stand by for the dance. You're going to be in the show too, Rika. What is this dance all about? Are you going to do something traditional because you're the Shrine Maiden? There's a dance and a ceremony for paying respect to the cotton inside the futon. You should root for Rika too, Keiichi. You see, when Rika dances in her Shrine Maiden outfit, it's just so cute. I'm taking her home with me. I've never seen a real Shrine Maiden before. I'm sure Rika really will look adorable. I was looking more and more forward to the Watanagashi festival. Rina, Mion, Shion, Satoko, Rika, and I. The 6 of us will definitely have a great time there. How many more days did we have? I've never been this excited about a festival in my life. End of the chapter. Unless... Tomatake? Not the end of the chapter? Satoko's snoring sounded so subtle when I stood by the window. Satoko? I could tell that she was sound asleep. She snores so cutely. Hanyu laughs and tries to poke Satoko's nose. I looked up at the sky. Nothing was different about the moon, but the moonlight seemed warmer than usual to me. Rika, you seem to be in a good mood. Yes, I think I am. I realized it only after Hanyu pointed it out. I really was in a very good mood. Otherwise, I wouldn't be enjoying the view of the sky on a humid night like this. It felt like bringing a toast to the moon. As I rooted around the back of the closet, Hanyu spoke to me, sounding noticeably upset. Rika, don't you even think about drinking. I deserve it, just tonight. Hanyu doesn't like alcohol. If I drink, Hanyu will also taste it, so she always complains when I try to drink. That's why I usually drink only when Hanyu is far away from me. Of course, she'll know right away when I do, but it's too late by then. No, you can't. You're too young to be drinking. It's my body. I'm going to make my own decisions. No, I hate alcohol. You can't drink. I don't want to fight with you tonight. I'll dilute it with the orange juice so you can handle the taste. Is that a deal? That's not the point. I don't like the smell of alcohol. So you can't drink. Hanyu jumped around and complained. She was making a lot of noise right where Satoko was sleeping. Stop that. You're going to wake her up. No, I'm not. Remember, you're the only one who can hear me. Blech. Huh, just who you think you are? Went to the refrigerator and took out a pack of orange juice and the spicy kimchi I typically use for her punishment. Let me ask you a question. Would you prefer if I ate this spicy kimchi to punish you, or drink a sweet orange juice cocktail while enjoying this beautiful moon instead? Hanyu clenched her lips while jumping up and down, ready to burst into tears. She should be disciplined for being that noisy, but she never has been since I'm the only one who can hear her. Besides, she's like air, so I can't even give her a spanking. Hanyu loves sweets, but she really hates spicy food. Rika, will you stop jumping around? Stoko woke up suddenly and I had to hide my glass in a hurry. Stoko doesn't know about my drinking habit. What time do you think it is? She fell asleep again after speaking. See, she was bothered by you jumping around like that. You nighttime nuisance. Poor Hanyu. Just like I'm the only one who can see her, I'm usually the only person who can hear the noise she makes. However, that's not the case all the time. Hanyu does exist in this world. Sometimes people can actually hear and feel her existence. It doesn't happen too often, and most people think that they just heard some random noise. Based on my experience, people who are in critical condition like Satoko tend to hear her more often. When I say critical condition, I mean those who have reached the L4 stage, as Irie would describe it. At that stage, there's nothing that can be done anymore. They will feel the existence and hear the noise of someone that they can't see. That would really mess with their mind. Hanyu stopped jumping up and down and gave up as I started pouring alcohol into my glass. I wasn't drinking because I wanted to be mean to Hanyu. In fact, I always wished she would enjoy it too. I poured only a little bit of wine inside the glass and diluted it with plenty of orange juice. In fact, this cocktail is pretty much just the juice. I also put some crushed ice inside the glass. With that, it looked like a real cocktail they serve at a bar. See, Hanyu? It's very diluted. I licked the edge of the glass to see how she'd react. Guess it's not that bad. Good, I'll be drinking this tonight. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore, alright? Hanyu has been scared of that kimchi punishment for a while. As I put it back inside the refrigerator, she seemed a bit relieved. I took the glass and headed back to the window. There was no breeze, but it seemed a bit cooler. Hey Hanyu, do you feel that something is different this time? Are you talking about Keiichi and Rina? Shion too. Everyone remembers a little bit about their past. They seem to be using those memories to avoid their fatal mistakes. I don't think it would be that surprising if this was happening individually, but I find it very strange that that's happening to everyone all at once. I know I often use board games as an example of fate, but I feel like this is the same lucky chance as rolling all 6s on 3 dice. I know they're using this as like wow, that's like really lucky, but like, again, if we want to talk about the scheme of things, like, that's really not all that lucky. Like, in the scheme of lucky things, it's a 1 out of 216 chance, right? That's not... like, that's lucky, but... Bro, there's fucking mounts in WoW that are 1 out of 1,500, and I got, like, 10 of them, okay? So this is the thing, okay? It's just... That ain't the case, man. It's not... I'm just being nitpicky, okay? I think that's a good way to describe it in the sense that we're starting closest to your desired future. But what I mean to say here so far is that what Rika could use as an example, like Rika's lived this like hundreds of times, like hundreds of, maybe not 100 times, but like hundreds of years worth of looping. So she's done this many times. And my question then is, like, she should realize how rare this is. But I don't think this is the miracle that we've been waiting for, that you've been waiting for. I knew what she was trying to say. She was telling me not to expect too much. The die is designed to have 6 sides. It's not a miracle if I roll it and get a 6. The true miracle is when I roll it once but get a 10, just like what happened with Keiichi in my previous life. In other words, a miracle is something that would normally never happen. Keiichi gave the doll to Mion. Rina spoke with her father and Shion started taking care of Satoko after remembering her promise to Satoshi. That was all because they had those intentions somewhere in their hearts. It was only a side of their die that was engraved there already. But still, even if you couldn't call 3 dice rolling this well a miracle, it did mean good fortune. Okay, you could say that. I'm sure it was God's way of celebrating you finally feeling motivated to change your fate. I thought you were one of the gods. You only treat me like a god when you're trying to tease me. I was just kidding, don't get upset. Anyway, that's why I'm in such a good mood tonight. I lifted up the glass of orange wine and gave a toast to the moon. It tasted like nothing but sweet orange juice. It was funny to see Hanyu making a happy face as I took a sip. I wonder if I can escape the death of 1983 this time. If our goal is to escape from this board, then I don't think we'll ever have such a fortunate start again. No matter how hard I tried to prevent things from happening, there were some things I could never control. It's such a huge letdown when that happens. Even after trying so hard, something renders my efforts infertile. I'd probably been wasting my time for so long because I was trying to escape from that pain. For the first time in my life then, I've been blessed with a favorable situation. Everybody seems perfect in this world. There's no reason for me to be depressed. It's like the weather is perfect and the wind is blowing in just the right way. If I failed to put my ship out to sea, there was nothing to pin the blame on. I understood what Hanyu was trying to say with the concerned look on her face. If I didn't escape my death under this fortunate situation, I'd have to accept that my fate wasn't something that could be changed. This is an ideal world where all of my friends overcame their problems. I was always in a depressing world, but this time all the pieces of the puzzle matched. If I couldn't change my fate in this world, then it was proof that I couldn't change it in any world. That was the ending that I've been afraid of for a long time, the loss of hope and the death of my soul. Of the pair of us, I was probably the one who would die. Hanyu will most likely remain there even if my spirit disappears. She must be afraid of being alone after I lose myself. That's why she's telling me not to expect too much. I bit down on an ice chip inside my mouth. It was pleasantly cold. Hanyu, I know we've been over this many times, but I want you to think about me again. Sure. You want to know why you're being murdered in 1983? Yes. Strong will becomes fate. That means the reason I get murdered this year is because of someone's strong will. I think you're right. Who will benefit from killing Rika Furude? If that person has a strong will, there must be a clear motive for them doing so. It might sound odd coming from me, but I think most people like Rika Furude. I don't think any villager would have the motive to kill me. The people who live in the village are all fond of you. Oh my god, are they gonna fucking say that Tomatake is the one that's out to get her? No shot, bucko. No shot. I'm gonna write this down. And this kind of makes sense in a way. Think about it, right? We know Rika's in the possession of the syringe. Or is in possession of the syringe. And look at the method to which Tomatake dies, right? Do you think that's possible that he was the one that came after her? But then the question is, if Tomatake dies, it still doesn't explain why Rika dies after as well. Because now we're kind of stuck in like a weird like thing that doesn't really make sense, because I'm trying to think here, like, okay, so if we follow that line of logic, let's say Tomatake is the one that's trying to kill Rika. In literally every timeline he fails. So if he fails in every timeline, the question would be, who is it that would share his motive? Like, is Tomatake part of, like, I joked earlier that I thought Tomatake was like an undercover cop. Like, is there, like, an organization he's a part of that's, like, you know, they're doing, like, the same kind of meme, you know? Like, I don't know. The people who live in this village are all fond of you, thanks to you. I'm just showing you my appreciation. Anyway, we now know that the Sonozaki family is not the culprit. I have no idea who else would want to kill me. You know, this village is supposed to be the safest place in the world for you. You're right, it's supposed to be. There are plenty of people who would protect me here. It's ironic. For a long time I've been refusing help from all those people who were trying to keep me safe. Rika, I think we should rely on Irie. People in this village love and cherish me, but no matter what, they never save me when I try to escape the fate of my death. I spoke to several villagers in the past, but they never believed me and none of them saved me in the end. They probably didn't believe me because I had no idea who was trying to kill me or what their motive was. If I could explain that, people might be more accepting of my story. But there's nothing I can do about that. No one would believe a little girl saying that she's going to be killed without rhyme or reason. And they think of me as the reincarnation of Oyashiro and the leader of the Furude family. They do cherish me, but they won't protect me with their lives. On the other hand, Irie and his people are totally different. They realize how special I am and would try to make sure that nothing happens to me. If I confessed to them that my life was in danger, I'm sure they would do their best to prevent it. They have all the means to protect me from a violent end. However, none of it really worked in the past. It's not that they're unreliable, it's because Takano, the one responsible for protecting me, also gets killed on the same day every time. In other words, asking for her help is completely useless. She's very reliable, but she also isn't. It's ironic that I'm the only one who knows the reason why they can never save me. I wonder if that's the murderer's plan. Tomotage and Takano get killed because they're my guardians, then I get killed after that. I think Takano's death is definitely related to your own. If it's the same fate, I mean if the same suspect is killing them for the same motive, I might be able to alter my own outcome by preventing their deaths. I don't know if you remember, but we've tried that once before. The deaths of Takano and Tomotage mean the loss of my protection. Because the two of them died, the suspect is able to kill me. That's why I've tried to prevent their deaths somehow, but they never believed me. I tried hard to persuade them, but they didn't listen. I eventually gave up and just thought of their deaths as fated to happen. It's the same hopeless feeling I used to have towards my parents when I was able to go farther back in time. When I found out that death was inevitable, I lost interest in them. Yeah, because this is what they were saying, that Hanyu is able... So they were saying earlier that Hanyu is capable, or used to be capable, of rewinding more and more time. And so once Rika knew about her death way back in the past, so like with Akasaka, that was a loop where clearly Hanyu still had some amount of power, so it must have been like, sorry, I read shit when I'm trying to think, and it disrupts my train of thought. So Hanyu can rewind a lot of times. So we know that the chapter 4 timeline with Akasaka was one where where Hanyu still had a relatively large amount of power because she rewinded the whole 5 years as compared to just, the single thing. After all the time had passed, I forgot how hard I used to try to prevent my parents' death. Besides, I thought you hated Irie and his people. Yeah, they look at us like nothing but their guinea pigs. I support them so I can help Satoko, but it disgusts me to think that they're only using me as a test subject. I've been resenting Irie for that reason. Still, I should try to get closer to him. After all, he's the only person who understands how important I am. He's the main person I should be talking to, and he has the most potential for protecting me. I can't avoid seeking help from him just because I don't like him. I've asked him for help several times before, but Tomotage and Takano get murdered even so, and it ruins everything. After their deaths, Irie panics and becomes useless. That's why I gave up on seeking help from him. But in this world, I've been blessed with a positive situation. I will never have as lucky a start as this again. This is the best chance I'll ever get, so I should give it my best shot. I really don't like him at all. But he's not a bad person. I should respect him more. He's serious about helping Satoko, and he's not as much of a mad scientist as I'm inclined to think. Takano is a strange person too, but she's also someone who can give me support. But she thinks I'm only her guinea pig. That's why I don't really want her help. Tomotage is more reliable than Takano, but the biggest problem is that he only visits this village a few times a year. On top of that, he always dies before I get killed, so he can never help me. However, they really are the people I should be talking to. If I change the fate of their deaths, they should be able to save me from my own. It's possible that the only reason I lived until 1983 is because of their effort. I'm going to approach them once more and do what I can to try and save them. Oh, don't worry. I expect they'll be murdered anyways, so I'm not getting my hopes up. So I'll be fine even if this hope's betrayed. Oh, you're such a cruel girl. I chuckled at her comment. If they can escape their fated deaths, then I'm sure they'll greatly influence my own destiny as well. And this time, I'm gonna try talking to them with the assumption they'll still be killed. In short, I'll talk to them about how I'll be protected from my coming danger after they die. If they issue such orders, then maybe the guard around me will be strengthened after they do. Oops. The protection they provide is probably the highest standard of security I could hope for, yet I lose that the moment Takano and Tomotage die. I said that backwards, but so I never have their protection after Watanagashi, and therefore I get killed too. In other words, that's it. Whoever possesses the strong will to kill me actually just wants me dead, and they're just a roadblock. Okay. Trying to think about this here. I'm going to use a weird analogy that not many people will get. To me, so the kind of way that I'm understanding this is kind of like, what do you call it? This reminds me of, if you ever played World of Warcraft, there's this battleground called Alterac Valley. And the whole premise is that you have your leader in one end, they have their leader in the other. There's these towers that are around the map. Each tower gives a buff and an extra soldier next to the final boss, and they're like really strong. So the only realistic way that you can ever kill the final guy and win is you have to go through and tear down all the towers first, and then you can kill the final guy. To me, in this example, Tomotage and Takano are like the towers. They're basically these barriers that are up. Now, it could very well be possible that if the towers don't fall, like in Alterac Valley, you can still win. It's just exceptionally difficult to pull off, and so, you know, if we're talking about playing odds, probably a very good chance that it just doesn't happen. However, on the flip side, it could be... So basically there's two possibilities. The way that Rika's talking about this right now kind of makes it sound like Takano and Tomatake's death are like a checkpoint that must be reached before they can kill her, because they're basically security, they're a barrier to her. So similar to like my analogy I just used, there's a difference in the analogy. It's not totally analogous, because the way that Rika is putting this, or at least the way she's thinking about this, and she might be wrong, she's thinking that as long as she can prevent those two from dying, that she will also not die. Now, this could be a lot like AV, which is the analogy I'm using, in that even if the towers are still up, so even if Takano and Tomotage are up, this doesn't necessarily mean that Rika will live. She could still die. You can still win if the towers are up, it's just way harder. So, with the probability, you know, because like, what's the probability that Rika keeps him alive? Seems pretty low. It's sort of a weird thing though with probability, because like, in terms of like this, if Rika really wants it to happen and she finds out a way to do it, it feels like she should be able to secure it every time, but we won't get into the talk about all that. But so there's two things that could be happening. Either Takano and Tomotage are required for Rika to be killed, or they're not. If they're not required for her to be killed, it's probably just an extremely low probability that both they live and that the person ends up killing, because it seems like it's much easier for the person to just kill both of them and then kill Rika. So to finally wrap all this together with Twine, my idea is that Rika might be making a huge misstep here unless she acknowledges this in the next few sentences. She's kind of making an equivalence between her lives and their lives, but that might not necessarily be true. There's probably some potential that they both live and Rika still dies. You know? That's basically all I'm getting at. We'll see. That prevents the killer from getting to me. So to kill me, they must first kill Tomotage and Takano, the heart of security. So yeah, so she's buying into this. She could very well be right, because I don't know the true nature of this either. She could be right. It could be that they are like a barrier that has to be captured before they can continue forward. But they could also just be a really difficult obstacle and not a barrier. And so if it's a really difficult obstacle, so far the killer has just decided, or whoever, I don't know if it's like a single person, it could be a group, but the killer has decided that it's easier in every single timeline we've seen so far to just kill both of them and then kill Rika after, as opposed to not killing them and killing Rika, because obviously it's much more difficult for them. But there is a possibility that they could just be a very difficult obstacle and not a barrier, and the Rika could still be killed if they live. Then my protection falls away, leaving me exposed. The more I reason it out, the more I realize their fates are connected to mine. Thinking from that point of view, my destiny becomes inescapable the moment I abandon them to die. You should know what you have to do first then. Yeah, I have to think about saving their lives before thinking about mine. It's kind of ironic. I gave up on them because I was more determined to save my own life. but I finally came to the conclusion that I have to help them first before helping myself. But there's something I still don't understand. Someone with convictions this strong is trying to kill me for some equally strong motive. Yet no matter how often I debate it, I can't think of anyone who'd benefit from my death. Not only that, but there should only be people who'd want to protect me, especially since they would do anything to protect me in the present environment. They even eliminated my mother. To be perfectly honest, I don't even care about her anymore. I never got along with her, and she's the one who took my father's death the wrong way, making a huge deal out of it like she did. She got what she deserved. A little bit monka weird on that one, but I'm a valuable guinea pig for them, and I can be a bomb too. No one benefits from making me explode. There's only disaster awaiting them if that happens. Lots of people will be lost, and nobody would gain anything from that. According to Takano, my death would be the eruption of a volcano in the middle of the village. I'm not interested in what happens after my death, but they're really concerned about it. They're watching me every day to ensure that I don't accidentally hit my head on the corner of a block of tofu and die. It's fair to say that they are here in order to prevent that eruption from happening. It'd be suspicious of them if they were going to benefit in some way from my death. But as everyone knows, that can't possibly be the case. My death would create nothing but a disaster. Yeah, and it seems to make sense too. Why would there might be like, actually this makes it even questionable who could really be doing it. I don't know if the cult theory even makes sense anymore. Because if the cult theory makes sense, right? Like, how do I put this? Whoever is doing this has to be someone who is stationed outside the village. They could be villagers that are that have communicated themselves out of the village to be safer or what have you. I don't know exactly. Whatever it is, okay? There's no reason for the cultists. So let's say they are, because originally the plan that was proposed was that Rika's death was tied to the disaster, and there was some cult that after Rika died was just mass suiciding the village because Rika was dead and our god's dead, whatever, right? But then the problem is it doesn't really make much sense, because on the same token, why would a cultist ever do that? It doesn't really make much sense. I think what's more likely here is something fucky is going on, okay? And I think as a total third party that must have some good reason, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's someone that has a grudge in relation to Rika's family, or maybe the village as a whole, and maybe killing Rika is just to elicit a response they know will happen, because maybe the cultists, put it this way, I'm never going to be able to theorize who's doing it, because I don't really know. I'm going to guess that whoever's doing it is outside the village, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not literally a villager, but obviously they're probably not going to kill themselves in the attack. That wouldn't really make much sense if they were so determined about it. It could just be someone that hates Hinamizawa, and Rika is a figurehead for the village, and killing Rika, then in turn with the disaster leads to, the destruction of the village. But the question is, who? Who would want to do something like that? Who would want to destroy Hinamizawa so much? Because even though they want to kill Rika, it feels like Rika is almost a means to an end because they know what's going to happen afterwards. I don't know, I don't know. All I know is I'm really fucking hungry. Perhaps it's not about game, but about a grudge. Maybe someone has a strong grudge against my family and kills me not knowing that I'm like a bomb to this village. That's why I was suspicious of the three families, especially the Sonozaki family. However, after observing them in numerous worlds, I feel that's not the case. I felt that way in several lives, but it always had something to do with that incident with Keiichi and the doll. There's another thing that I want to know, which I'm hoping will get answered, or maybe has already been answered and I just haven't put it together. I want to know who the fuck killed... Okay, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Because I don't really have much else to go on. I think there's a really good chance that whoever killed Rina Mamiya in Chapter 3 is also the killer in this. The only excuse that could maybe make sense is that Rina was also active. Because Chapter 3 is actually the really confusing chapter, right? That's the really confusing one. It's the one where, everything hinges. And Rina Mamiya's death in turn leads to like the whole disaster of the village. That starts everything. That's almost a roundabout way of making everything happen. Of course, the same event still happens, so the same person that's doing this is still present. But why would Rina Mamiya be killed? Well, probably to make Tepe move back in. Why would Tepe and then when Tepe moved back in, you kind of have that whole like bleed that happens to everybody else. I don't know. Like something is itching me the wrong way about that, and I feel like there hasn't been an example or an explanation for who or why or how she was killed. We know she was found in like that drainage duct or whatever the fuck they were talking about. The drain channel, I think they said specifically, but it doesn't really mean anything at this point. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like she just died and they never brought it up again. Like we later found out who she was. But it doesn't really make much sense. The only explanation that could fit is that Rena, and I mean the Rena Weno, Rena, is the one that killed her in that, because obviously, but even then, why was it so in the background, you know? I don't know, it's really bothering me, but whatever. I felt the same way in several lives, but it always had something to do with that incident with Keiichi and the doll. It's clear that there's nothing going on between the Sonozaki family and mine. In that case, it must be some religious fanatic. If it's not about profit or a grudge, it might be someone who's secretly a deranged cultist. That's what I thought, but I don't really think it fits anymore. We've already had a series of murders 4 years in a row under the name of Oyashiro's curse. Timing-wise, it would be somewhat interesting if either reincarnation of Oyashiro were killed on the 5th year. Also, I still think there's some shit going on with the murderer because, again, the bad end with Keiichi in Tokyo with Mion in Chapter 5, I don't buy that shit. Something fucky's going on there. And I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know how much I can trust, what's his face? I don't know how much I can trust if Satoshi is alive or dead. They insinuated very heavily that he was dead, but again, like, there's one thing if you ever watched or played like the Walking Dead games or the TV show, it's like, if they don't die on screen, they ain't dead. So, I'm not writing him off yet. There could be a lot going on there, but whatever. I couldn't stand to be murdered for such a whimsical reason, but such a motive actually seemed fitting. Ironically, I would have to suspect Takano if that's the case, exactly. She's well known for being an eccentric researcher of local histories. She's only interested in the village's history because she already knows who I am. She's doing the research based on the notion that I'm important. She should have no reason to kill me. She would desire to keep me close to her as a research sample. It's hard to believe that she would kill her favorite toy. She might be willing to kill someone who would try to harm her little toy, though. I will never find out no matter how hard I think. I just know that someone is definitely going to kill me. I don't care about anything else as long as I can escape that fate. No, I take that back. I want to escape my deadly fate. But I also want all my friends to be happy, and I want the rest of my life to be happy too. I don't want to hide myself in the forest forever just to get away from my murderer. In fact, I've tried that once before, but I still met with the same ending. Living in the forest was a horrible experience. I was able to survive until July that time. Oh! That might be the longest I've ever lived. I smiled bitterly and finished off the rest of the orange wine in the glass, so it's not fated that she dies in June then, if she lived in July in one of the timelines. And she kind of glossed over that. I mean, you know what it is, but I'd have to talk to Irie again. I don't like him, but his people are my only hope. It's getting late. I should go to sleep now. I think so too. Good night. I laid down and closed my eyes, but I couldn't fall asleep right away. Suddenly, I remembered Rina's words out of nowhere. It was no good when I was thinking about it on my own. I wasn't thinking about it on my own. I was talking it out with Hanyu, but she's basically... Now I know it's important to talk to other people. Friends have greater meaning than I thought. You can talk to them about anything. I finally realized that. After I asked Takano for help, should I also talk to Keiichi? I told him before in my previous lives, but he never believed me then. Guess that's the end of the chapter. Dude, this isn't really much of a fucking answer arc, I tell ya. We're not really learning dick fuck all. Dude, I'm starving. The two of us, the last of us. 4 members. She clearly see all of us, her father, her mother, and me. She had no idea that I was invisible to anyone else but her. My appearance is a little different from human beings. I may otherwise look like a person, but I can't hide my horns, so it's obvious that I'm not human. I hope that Rika has seen me since she was a baby. I'd hoped that because Rika had seen me since a baby, she wouldn't be bothered by my ugly horns at all. And that hope came true. Just as chicks believe whatever they see first as their parent, Rika accepted me as part of her family as a matter of course, even though I have these horns. Rika and I have been close ever since the day she accepted me as her family member. I became closer to her than her parents. Couldn't even remember the last time I was able to communicate with someone. We spent all day together. But her family, especially her mother, denied my existence. Since her mother so strongly denied me, Rika and her mother became distant. Rika didn't learn certain things that many children learn from their mothers. That's why I taught her instead. It's kind of ironic how that made her mother resent Rika even more. Rika used to fight with her mother a lot about how she talked. I guess she picked up on some bad habits from me. Besides the fact that she didn't get along with her mother, Rika was a pretty normal girl. She was just like Satoko. She loved running around in the woods and doing mischievous things. However, in June 1983, Rika's life was taken. All we want is a happy life for Rika. My power only allows us to search for the path leading to that. It's awful to repeat the same tragedy over and over again. Although it's devastating, we can still find happiness within this endless world. Rika Furude's destiny is a tragic dead end. But I'm secretly enjoying the fact that I get to spend more time with her than what normal people can enjoy. It's not just Rika. They may not see or hear me, but being with Satoko, Mion, Rina, and Keiichi is also very fun. I can never be one of them, but I can still be by their side. It's a little bit Pepe hands there, Hanyu. Chill. Okay, the train keeps chugging. What's happening with my game here? What's happening? Sorry, it's locking up here. Hello, I'm surprised to see you here on a day other than Sunday. I have something I want to ask Takano. Is she here today? No, she must be on a date with Risa. Huh, I wish I had a date too. Who's Risa? Supposed to be like Lisa? But like Japanese memes? Hope I'm not being secretly racist here. Why do you call him Risa? I don't understand. Okay, so first of all, again, if we start getting random characters, I don't like whenever a character's name just randomly shows up and we literally haven't heard jack fucking squat from them for the whole goddamn game. So, you should ask him yourself. It was a small mistake I made when we first met. It was funny how he reacted. I don't get it. That's what nicknames are all about, though. What did you want to talk to her about? I'll see her at the meeting tonight, so I'll take a message if you want. Thank you very much, but I'd rather talk to her directly. I see, alright. I should get back to my work now then. Are you not seeing any patients today? I've been busy with paperwork for the meeting tonight. I've been preparing it for a while, but I didn't have enough time. I'll get in trouble if it's not finished in time. Aren't you busy coaching the baseball team too? You have so much energy. Huh, I'm such a busy guy. I've been looking for a cute maid who would take care of the chores and help me with other work, but I've had no such luck. He laughed and looked at his watch. He seemed to be in a hurry. Do you have any idea where Takano is right now? Probably going around to different places in the village. I know that they always meet at the shrine. She left not too long ago, so she might still be somewhere near there. I wonder if Risa is just Tomatake. I looked at the clock on the wall. I must have just missed her. This is no time to be chatting with Irie. Thank you very much. I'll try the shrine. You shouldn't bother those lovers, since they only see each other 4 times a year. Yeah, it's Tomatake. He smiled mischievously and waved his hand in goodbye. In goodbye? Is he says in goodbye there? Waved his hand in goodbye. Sorry, sometimes, you know, you read the... head back to the shrine. I was going to park my bike by the stairs that led to the shrine grounds. Stoke and I are the only people who park our bikes there normally, but I saw more than 10 bikes there today. People must be gathering at the convention room. I've almost read that as convection. There are more and more meetings when the Watanagashi festival draws closer. Seeing all the bikes reminded me that summer is nearly here. Most of the bikes were old, beat up. However, I saw 2 unfamiliar ones parked there. They were sporty mountain bikes with the same design but different colors. They must belong to Takano and Tomatake. I went up the stairs to look for the 2 of them, but I couldn't find either. Was there any place with a great view for taking pictures? I tried looking in places like that, but I still couldn't find them. So I started looking based on what Takano might be interested in. I can only think of one place, the storehouse. Yep, there she is. How is it, Jiro? It's a pretty simple lock. All I need is the right tool. I should be able to open it in a minute. You can do that. You open the lock to my heart, but that's not the only thing you're good at, huh? Hee hee. I'm gonna curse you. Two of them jumped in surprise as I suddenly appeared in front of them. Hello, Rika. It wasn't nice of you to scare us like that. It's not nice to try and open the ritual storehouse's lock, either. She's right, Takano. We can't do something like that. Tomitake conceded right away, but Takano was stubborn. She made up excuses to try and fool me. Based on my previous lives, I knew just how much interest she had in the storehouse. It was actually rather impressive how hard she tried to cover that up. The ritual storehouse is full of the remainder of the dark history of Onigafuchi. It contains bloody and vicious tools that Takano's fascinated with. You should have a good idea as to what those things are inside of the storehouse based on what she has been researching. She was making up some story about cultural treasures and such, but it was obvious that she was just making excuses. Tomitake also seemed impressed, listening to Takano's phony justifications. In the past, I've tried to conceal what was inside the storehouse from Takano because I don't want her spreading information about the holy, brutal traditions they used to have in Onigafuchi village. So the real trick is just to show her? It would be a disgrace. As a member of the Furude family, I can't let that happen. Looking at the history of Onigafuchi and the way Takano does is a painful thing for Hanyu as well. For Hanyu, the ritual storehouse is a special place. I don't know what's so nice about being surrounded by those scary ritual tools, but she feels cozy when she's surrounded by the smell of old times. This storage is like Hanyu's hideout. When I can't see her, she's usually relaxing in here. Oh, so that's why she got so mad when everyone went in there. I don't want Hanyu's happy place to be turned into the bloody, horrifying den of evil Takano believes it to be. That's why I've been keeping Takano away from the ritual storehouse. Come to think of it, why am I so mean to her? Is it because I hate her? I should stop feeling that way. I have to keep in close contact with Takano and Tomitake. I won't give up just because it didn't work before. We're gonna try one more time. This world's different from the other ones. I might be able to change their fate, which in turn might change my own. Hanyu, I'm thinking about showing the ritual storehouse to Takano. Hanyu made an irritated face. Takano will lose herself in ecstasy if she sees what's inside there. She'll run around spreading rumors of the bloody history of Onigafuchi. Hanyu wasn't too excited about that prospect. I'm not trying to curry favor with Takano, but I think it might give me a chance to talk to her. Takano holds on to grudges, so if I'm mean to her now, she might not listen to me later. Okay, I do want to hear what Hanyu's sounds like. I'm sorry, okay? And I'm very glad that I didn't listen to it this whole time. I understand that Hanyu doesn't want her inside this holy place, but she can't do anything more than be irritated about it. I'm the only one who can make the ultimate decision. Besides, she'll forgive me if I promise to eat something sweet later. Takano, if you'll keep a secret, I'll let you in. Really? Inside the ritual storehouse? You don't mean inside an emergency shelter, right? I mean it. I'll let you into the ritual storehouse. You mean this storehouse? Inside of this building. I'm not trying to trick you or anything. I'll let you inside. Okay, wait a minute. Wait, have I ever heard Takano's voice? I think I have, I just don't remember it. We're gonna listen to two of these here. Damn, dude, she hit a lot of consonants in that. Listen to that. That didn't even sound like words at the end. No, 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 no. Yikes. I fucking hate this. I'd never seen such a big smile on her face before. Now this is a miracle. I'm seeing this face for the first time in 100 years. Tomitake must be feeling the same way. His image of Takano was slowly falling apart as we spoke, I'm sure. No, maybe he just found a new side to her love. Side of her to love instead. I'm surprised that Takano is actually such a funny person. Communication is important. It's sometimes so hard to tell what people are all about. We remained there and watched Takano spinning in delight for a while. This is a secret, so no one can see us going inside. You're right. I'll try and calm her down. I'll go get the keys now. By the time I came back with the key, Takano was totally calm again. She was obviously trying to hide how gleeful she was, though. I thought she was a mature lady, but she might still be a kid at heart. I think they called that something like Gap Moe? Sure. I picked that term up at some point from Keiichi, but I'm still not sure how it's used. Well then, Takano and Toмотaki, before we go inside, you must promise me something, otherwise you can't go in. Of course. You're willing to break the rules to open the Forbidden Storehouse for us. We'll keep our promises. Takano, you have to take this seriously. I am taking it seriously. My image of Takano is falling to pieces right now. Same here. Her market is crashing all over the world. Rina said it before. It's not good to think about problems all on your own. I always hated the crazy part of Takano, and I didn't want to be close to her, but I never thought she could act this way. She's almost acting like Rina does when she was in her cute mode. Had I known that she was as funny a person as this, I wouldn't have felt resentment towards her. I realize how important communicating can be. First of all, you have to promise that you won't tell anybody that you went inside the storehouse. Do not tell anyone. Of course I won't, I'll promise. Takano put her hands to her chest. She also forced Toмотaki to do the same. It was funny to watch Toмотaki trying to keep up with Takano, too. Also, you can't damage anything inside the storehouse. Of course not. Is it okay if I take pictures? You can, but I'll charge 100 yen per picture. What? How much money do you have on you right now, Jiro? If you pay me 10,000 yen, you can take all the photos you want. That's a good deal. I'll take it. Jiro. They paid me the money for real. Han, you seemed excited knowing that the money could be used for buying desserts. Takano's such a nice person. You're so greedy. I finally got approval from Oyashiro, the master of the storehouse. We'd have no more problems now. The ritual storehouse is behind the building with the convention room. Sometimes people come out for a cigarette break. Can't let anybody see us entering. You're good. No one's around. Toмотaki checked out the scene and gave me the signal to go ahead. I nodded at him and unlocked the door. I pushed open the heavy door just far enough for us to sneak inside. It'll look suspicious if you wait outside like that. What? I can come inside too. He seemed surprised that I was asking him to come inside with us. Toмотaki, of course, wasn't particularly interested in what was inside the storehouse. I expected his surprised reaction. Jiro, Rika is telling you to come inside. Come on now. Alright. Toмотaki squeezed inside as Takano urged him. I turned the light on and closed the door. Then I put the chain on from inside. You're locking us in, just so that a bad kitty won't sneak inside, you know? Hee, are you talking about me? Takano, a cat is supposed to go all meow meow. Nipa. What do you mean? If you don't act like a cat, I'm not gonna let you see what's in here. I brought cat ears and a collar with a bell for you too. You don't put them on, get on all fours and meow, then I won't open the next door. The shrine storehouse has 2 doors so that people can't see inside when the first door is open. At the moment, we were inside the entry chamber. The real storehouse is in the room beyond. What? Ha ha ha, it's a bad joke, Rika. You wouldn't really. Huh? What the hell? I'll do it if I have to. You're testing me to see how devoted I am to my research, aren't you, Rika? Fine, if that's what you want, then I'll wear cat ears, bloomers, and a tail, crawl on all fours before an empty milk bowl, and beg, please... Okay, I'm not reading that last part. She definitely would have joined our club if she was around our age. I agree. Hey, remember how they said shredded stocks felt like snow on Wall Street during the Great Crash? Takano's value right now reminds me of that. Bring it on, Rika. Are you sure that I only have to wear the ears and the collar? Takano. The door isn't even locked. See? Pushing it opens. Really? Hee, my dear, how shameful of me. Toмотaki has no sense of humor. He just turned off a lot of viewers who were looking forward to seeing Takano in the cat outfit. Anyway, he's right. You just have to push it. Once we went through the door, dude, also, I'm so pissed off how fucking much I put stock in the goddamn bell ringing theory, and it literally didn't mean jack fuck all. There were no windows in there, so it was completely dark even during the day. There were several light bulbs hanging from the ceiling, but they were dim, and their light only exaggerated the darkness inside. Oyashiro's statue and the altar dominated the center of the room. They were surrounded by tons of ancient torture implements. They were all over the floor, walls, and ceiling. It looked like a torture room rather than just storage for tools intended for one. This is amazing. Toмотaki was rendered speechless. They were nothing like those fake torture implements they might have seen in a wax museum or someplace like that. The tools in this room are the genuine articles. I never like to think about it, but I'm sure some of them really were used. These authentic tools always have a big impact on the people who see them, but Toмотaki was the only one who was shocked since he was the only normal person in the room. Meanwhile, Takano's having a field day. Takano's eyes were sparkling. She was taking pictures while meowing like a cat. This place isn't special to me. Of course, I know I'm supposed to treat it as a holy place, but I'm so used to seeing all these things after coming in here countless times since I was little. To me, it's nothing but a storehouse with a lot of old stuff inside. As for Hanyu, she says it's the only place the air from times past linger in this present day, so she actually finds it comforting. I get in a good mood when I come here because Hanyu gets in a good mood. This is a relaxing place for her. As I watched Tomatake's reaction, I noticed how totally off my values are from normal people's. Takano's reaction seemed more natural to me in a sense. Hanyu seemed to be bothered by Tomatake's reaction too. Maybe it was a bad idea to let him come inside after all. Not like I could kick him out at this point. Hanyu and I sat on a cushion in front of the altar and watched Takano dance with childish glee while Tomatake made touching efforts to keep up. I wonder why they made so many torture implements. The whole purpose of torture is to make people confess something, right? Why was it necessary for them to have so many? That's actually a fairly good point. Jiro, do you know that there are 2 ways to threaten people with torture implements? The first one is to inflict pain on the victim, while the other is to kill him. The other way is to threaten the victim by just showing him the tools. In that sense, having a countless number of them can give tremendous fear to the victim. I've heard that torture requires skill. I suppose it's hard to really hurt people without killing them. Tomatake acted like he's having a conversation with Takano, but his voice was obviously unsteady. Some Western torture implements were so vicious that if they really used it on the victim, they would have killed him instantly. To be precise, there are 2 types of torture implements. First, there are simple tools that are simply used to make the victims confess. The other type is for entertaining those who are watching the torture. I'm frustrated that some people can't tell the difference between those 2. Let me ask you, what were they trying to gain from the victims by using these tools? Tomatake asked me that. He must have thought that Takano would say something far more scary if he asked her. He's forgetting that I'm just a little innocent girl. I think they were forcing their victims to obey the rules of Onigafuchi Village. That's what I believe. Am I right? Yes, you are. Most of these tools were never built for actual use. They were simply displayed in front of the villagers to intimidate them. That's why there are records saying that when they actually tried to use them, some of them were the wrong size or simply malfunctioned. 1 second. I need to change something here. I gotta turn off some. I got fucking Okay, sorry. I had a notification about like a fucking news story on Snapchat. I don't give a fuck. That's why they're. Oh yeah. So they really did use some of them then. That's not a pleasant story. Some people were just not obedient despite the threat of Ogashiro's curse. Hey Rika, are you sure that these tools were mainly used to intimidate people in the village? I've heard that these were used for cooking and dissecting during the real Watanagashi. Anya was making a frustrated face. She didn't want to remember the dark history of Onigafuchi Village. People performed countless torture ceremonies in front of her, claiming that they were doing it in her name, the name of Oyashiro. She asked them not to do that, but no one was able to hear or see her. No comment. She always talks to me about it too. Long ago, the villagers of Onigafuchi would receive a divine message, go down to the foot of the mountain, kidnap people and eat them, right? Wonder why they did that. Was it a display of force or something? I believe it was a type of ceremony to make them all realize they were higher on the food chain. The greatest outspoken reasons Onigafuchi forbade intermingling with outsiders were that the village was a holy land and they were transcendents, greater beings than humans. Mingling with tainted humans will bring corruption. That's what they were taught. So they probably needed to reaffirm their idea that they were above humans at regular intervals. Sorry. In Japan, there was a tradition of displaying severed heads on pikes. Yo, same in France. While such a warning is inhumane, it's an extremely good deterrent. The victim was brutally tortured in public, and then they were eaten alive. What would you think if you saw something like that? Anyone would simply think that they wouldn't want to be in that same situation. There's also a history of crucifixion in this country. They hung the victim and stabbed him with spears in front of an audience. You probably know this already, Jiro, but people don't really die from being stabbed once or twice. They might have a chance to die if they were stabbed in the stomach or chest, but it's not instant like a guillotine. They bled from their wounds, their guts were pulled out, and they eventually died by drowning in their own blood. In that sense, a guillotine is such a merciful tool. Yeah, a guillotine actually is. I mean, It's not merciful because in the sense you're still killing someone, but in terms of like ways you could be killed with a torture implement, you know, the guillotine, pretty swift, pretty quick, you know? The guillotine was invented for the nobility. True. I was actually just listening to a thing about the French Revolution before the stream today. It was invented so there would be equality in execution, so that everybody would be executed the same way and be fast and quick. It was invented because they were able to die instantly, which wasn't the case with shooting or hanging. The nobles got special treatment all the way up to death. There's an old black and white movie that I know of. It's a love story set during the French Revolution, but the final guillotine scene is the best part. The nobles are lined up and bound in chains, and they get publicly executed on the guillotine one by one. Snap. Next. Yeah. Human lives are taken away like they're on a conveyor belt. There's no last words or prayers or anything. It's not even that entertaining because it's over in a flash. No one holds any sentiment for their deaths. The audience enjoys how the nobles' heads are sliced off like vegetables. It's like a show to them. I think it's more respectful to kill someone slowly and brutally. That way people will pay a little bit more attention to them, right? Oyashiro here was the one who made this brutal torture possible. Takano raises her hand to honor the statue of Oyashiro. Okay, my dog is popping off. Can you hear him? You can't. He's not showing up, but he is popping off right now. Oyashiro is just an idol created by human beings. That idol was worshipped with fear and made divine. Yes, people laid the bricks of his church with rules and doctrines, strengthening it with the mortar of curses and malediction. As they stacked and stacked those bricks up high, its height reached up to heaven and their god was placed above it all. Gods are born because people desire them. So when people seek to rule others with fear, they become the collection of blood, torture, and pure terror, and here they call that god Oyashiro. In other words, this proves that the stairs to godhood are built not by gods but by human hands, and shows the way for us humans to attain further heights, and... ... Her passionate lecture was interrupted by a loud noise. As I looked back, Hanyu was jumping up and down with her eyes full of tears. Thud, yeah. She was stomping the floor as hard as she could, making a loud noise instead of screaming out with her unheard voice. However, it all amounted to the same thing. Hanyu cannot be heard by people. That's not right. It's not right. I'm not like that. I hate seeing people getting tortured and killed. I want people to be happy together. Of course, not everything is perfect, but I never asked people to do such horrible things. Hanyu, you are who you are. Oyashiro has nothing to do with you. It's not right. I hate Takano. I hate her. She always says horrible things about me. She's a bully. Was it a bad idea for me to bring Takano in here? I knew that Takano would get overstimulated and say something like this. Fortunately, Hanyu's reaction indirectly reached Takano and she stopped lecturing. Somehow Tomotage had heard the noise that Hanyu made. He pressed his finger in front of his lips and told Takano to be quiet. What is it? Well, I just heard a sound like a child was jumping around. There might be a child somewhere near this building. Really? I didn't hear anything. I'm sure I heard it. Takano, we're in here in secret. I think you should look around without making any noise. Takano seemed disappointed, but Tomotage was right. She had no choice but to be quiet. Tomotage, there are no children around this place. Are you sure? You didn't hear it either. I'm sure I heard a noise. I heard it too, but it wasn't coming from outside the building. It was jumping right behind me. I guess you heard it from far away, but it was very loud to me. I was standing in front of the altar, and the statue of Oyashiro was right behind me. Tomotage seemed freaked out after hearing what I just told him. Although he was trying to fake a smile, his face was turning pale. However, Takano didn't seem scared at all. Takano, you can't say things that would upset Oyashiro in front of him. Oyashiro's very angry now. Can't you hear his voice? It's fortunate that she can't, to be honest. Even if she heard it, it would be nothing but tears. My job as a shrine maiden, to begin with, is to tell humans what Oyashiro is feeling. I'm responsible for speaking on Hanyu's behalf. Takano must have realized that I was very serious about what I just said. She apologized to me right away. I'm sorry. I took it too far. I'm sorry, Oyashiro. You are a god as long as people worship you. Even though I may not worship you, you still are holy. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. Oyashiro loves sweet food. You'll get cursed unless you offer something sweet through me. Tomotage couldn't help but smile. Takano also smiled. She bowed to me, promising to bring over some cream puffs soon. Takano finally stopped saying bad things about Oyashiro. She also promised to bring me something sweet. Hanyu was still upset, but she was probably satisfied for the moment. But I didn't know what she meant by the 3 fingers she was showing to me. Was she telling me to ask Takano for that too? Being her shrine maiden is not an easy thing. Oyashiro was saying that he wants at least 3 cream puffs. I just want to make it clear that it's not me asking for that. They took it as a joke I made to reduce the tension. Tomotage and Takano cracked up, holding their stomachs. Hanyu was looking at them with surprise, not knowing why they were laughing. My face, meanwhile, was turning red with embarrassment. Fine, I'll get 3 delicious cream puffs for Oyashiro. Should I get some for you and Satoko too? No, I don't need any. But there is something that I want to tell you. What is it? Since you let me inside the storehouse today, I'm willing to do anything for you now. Then I want you to believe what I'm about to tell you right now. Please don't ask me why or make fun of me. Please believe me and change fate to save me. Both of them are surprised to see such a serious look on my face. I was sure they'd be surprised. After all, I was about to explain to them they were going to die in 2 days. I'm sure they'd want to deny that, but I knew a fair bit about their deaths. One sec, I have to close my window because the wind is getting really bad and it's actually making me freeze my fucking ass off. So one sec. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna put some socks on too. I'm actually just really cold in here. Oh. Big fan of socks here, just so you know. Oh. Oh. Okay. Whew, there we go. Much better. But I knew a fair bit about their deaths. If I could explain it to them in detail, they wouldn't be able to laugh it off. I talked to them about it several times in previous lives, but they never took it seriously. I only had that slight possibility that they might believe me. Hopefully, the possibility is as small as a miracle. It should be engraved on the side of a die. My friends overcame their fates and they all rolled a 6. Should I call that a miracle? Please, God, let me roll a 6 again. Please let them believe that death is upon them. Monk ass. Oh, great. Now I get to play as fucking pedo Irie. Irie turned the light on as soon as he finished his presentation. There were about 8 men wearing lab coats inside the meeting room. The man sitting at the far end was the only person without one. Upon seeing Irie finish his speech, he clapped his hands several times. Having noticed his applause, the other men in the room soon followed suit. Excellent. Very, very excellent. I'm quite satisfied with your progress. Your hard work has paid off, Dr. Irie. No, I would say it's because of my incredible staff. He looks like he's military. Visitor, Infectious Disease Surveillance Center? That's what it says on his fucking badge. The parasite theory's right. I really do owe them my gratitude. We really are getting close to finding a perfect cure. There are a few more sticking points left, but they can all be resolved with time and financing. We're counting on your support on that front. With sufficient funding and labor, I estimate we'll be done within 3 years. By 1986, we should be able to establish a complete treatment for it. From here on out, our challenges are establishing a treatment package that other unspecialized medical facilities can easily administer and develop an easier, cheaper test for. With regard to testing, Dr. Irie is currently researching ways to detect potential patients through blood samples. Once that process is established, the test can be administered alongside regular physical exams, and we believe that will drive costs down significantly. That's wonderful to hear. The current tests are pretty involved and expensive after all. Sorry, I'm truly grateful to hear you're considering the cost, too. Or is he might not be from there, but he might be visiting it. What does Irie's badge say? Infectious Disease Surveillance Center. Infectious Disease, IDSC. Yeah. Serena was right. Healthy citizens are supposed to be our nation's asset, so it is really shameful to bring up the budget, but from our position, we'd like to shave every yen we can off the cost. Of course, we understand. So Tomotaki is like a government official. If we establish, or military of some kind, of course, we understand. If we establish a treatment that was impossible due to the cost, it'd just be a pie in the sky. It's our job to develop a practical treatment, not a theoretical one. Tomotaki started clapping again and everyone followed him. You're truly a respectable man as well as a talented doctor. I'm honored to have met you. No, I can't sincerely accept your applause until every person has been treated, and this so-called curse of Oyashiro has been exterminated. We hope for your continued cooperation until that time. Likewise, I'll do everything I can to make sure you receive almost every yen in the budget you've outlined. Please keep up the good work. Tomotaki and Irie shook hands, and the meeting room was filled with applause yet again. That's it for tonight's meeting. Tomorrow is the main event we're all waiting for, the budget hearing. Let's all push hard. Takano was being sarcastic, of course. The staff members in lab coats were smiling bitterly. Well, I give my greatest efforts to the budget you all need too. To be honest, I want to be on your side myself, but I'm the one who has to explain things to the brass and the one they come down on directly. You have my deepest apologies, but regretfully I'll be rigorously examining the budget. Please continue lending me your cooperation. That's your job, so we can't blame you. We'll see you tomorrow. In any case, that's it for today. Once Irie declared the meeting over, his white coat staff gathered up their documents and left after glancing at the clock. It was almost midnight. The staff who were off tomorrow might be alright, but those scheduled to work needed to sleep soon, so it would hinder them the next day. So it wouldn't hinder them, I'm guessing. Or it would hinder them. Takano gathered up the butts from the ashtray as well as the empty coffee cans. Some people didn't drink their coffee. We managed to get a coffee budget for meetings approved, but I wonder if they'll cut that budget if people don't drink it. Don't be so mean. I'm not doing this because I enjoy it, you know? Oh, Takano, I'll take that leftover coffee. I'll take one too. That way the budget won't go to waste. Ha 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 ha. The two of them seemed more relaxed with the other staff members gone. Tomotaki and Irie loosened their collars in a sigh of relief. Or in a sign of relief? Sign of relief. How are Rika and Satoko? Are they doing fine? I heard last week that Satoko's test results weren't that good recently. No, but it actually wasn't that big of a deal. She was a bit out of sorts because of the heat wave. Her new results came out very stable. Hee, Dr. Irie is very passionate about Satoko. That's not true. As a physician, I treat all my patients equally to the best of my ability. But if she feels grateful and decides to become my maid, that would be wonderful. Though that's proving quite difficult. It would be wonderful if there was a way to completely cure Satoko. But I guess that's what's difficult. Once a patient reaches the L5 state like Satoko has, it's easy for them to re-experience hallucinations, similar to a patient suffering from flashbacks. These technically aren't cultivated by the disease, but by the normal defense mechanism cultivated in the brain. Yeah, so Satoko doesn't just have allergies, bro. She has something deeper. I was talking about cancer earlier. It's not cancer, bro. She's got some fucking disease. Like the idiom, a scaled dog fears cold water. What the scalded. Scaled. I'm like, what? A scalded dog fears cold water suggests the brain naturally uses past experiences proactively for our survival, because the whole meme is that if you get scalded, it's from hot water, so even they're afraid of cold water because they're just afraid of water. You know, good meme. In simpler terms, emotional trauma. Worse yet, we suspect she may have suffered damage directly to her frontal lobe, so she needs more delicate counseling and long-term medication than the usual trauma patient. You may be able to treat her illness, but you can't treat her mental health. Is that what you're saying? There are plenty of people functioning in society with emotional trauma. Even if she's just one more in the mix, she's still a miraculous recovery considering the state she used to be in. Think about diabetic patients. There's no cure, but many of them live happily by managing their condition. She still needs 3 shots a day. Nope, she's recovered quite a bit, so she's down to twice a day now. I think that puts a lot less strain on her too. She was so afraid in the beginning, but Rika talked her into it. Into getting the shots, you mean. Satoko was told that she's receiving financial support from us by supporting our research, so she thinks that she's getting 2 shots a day not because she's sick, but as a test subject for your research. Jiro, it would be a horrible thing for us to explain to her what kind of illness she's suffering from. Didn't I tell you this before? Ah, well, I remember. Sorry for being insensitive. If you happen to see Satoko somewhere, please be kind to her. Alright, I will. Rika's such a strong girl. Her background is similar to Satoko, yet she's leading such a steady life. We have Rika and her deceased parents to thank for all of this. Dude, I wonder if that's what the disease is, the secret disease. Without their understanding and support, we never would have discovered even a hint at a cure so soon. She's even endured our inhumane experiments very well. We wouldn't have the results we do today without her support after overcoming her parents' death. I'd like to repay that debt we owe her someday. I agree. Tokyo also recognizes that Rika and Satoko have rendered us a distinguished service. They will be compensated for their work someday. Hey, you guys don't even want to pay for our coffee filters. Again, don't be mean. You keep bringing that story up. But even though all we can do is compensate them with money, I wish there was a way to pay them back from our hearts. Takano muttered like she's talking to herself, but it almost sounded as if she was talking to them. I'm sure there are many ways for us to show our appreciation. There are many ways we can pay them back. This really makes me wonder. So now considering, well, he's military or something, or he's government. It doesn't matter. You know, fucking all cut from the same cloth. Military section of government. So let's think here. Now that we know, we kind of knew there was something going on here, especially because Irie calls him a different name. The question that we need to think now is like, we can assume these people are probably not evil, okay? Probably, with an asterisk. We don't know, but probably. I just wonder now, like, I'm trying to think about who it would be. Because what I'm trying to think is, like, my guess is it's somebody who catches wind of, like, something to do with the government, and it, you know, goes from there. That's my thinking here. So I'm just trying to think what makes sense for, like, for killing these two, right? You know, there's one person's name that sticks in my mind for only one simple reason. Part of me thinks Satoshi. He's killed before. And if he were to catch wind that they're doing these inhumane experiments on Satoko, and Rika knows about it and Satoko doesn't, they're basically pulling the wool over on Satoko. And he initially committed that murder for his sister as well. But that's a big if, considering if he's still alive. But I kind of want to roll with that explanation because it kind of feels like it makes sense. It's kind of the same way that I reason my way into why Shion did what she did in Chapter 5. Because Satoko doesn't know. Like, she doesn't know that she's sick. She has a really bad disease. And they're trying to find a cure for it. Rika knows about this. She was even talking earlier about Satoko and L4 and all this shit. And it seems as though everybody here has pulled the wool over on Satoko and just, you know, oh, allergies, oh, seasons changing, oh, you know, whatever it is. But in reality, she's actually really sick. And they're talking about research, and there is a little bit of a research aspect to it, but in reality, they're doing this to try and make Satoko better. Because she has some illness. And let's say that she catches this illness post the whole Satoshi and her aunt situation. Or maybe she already had it and it was just never expressed itself. Then Satoshi comes back. Let's say he's not dead, because there's a big if. If Satoshi's dead, then this theory doesn't make any sense. But Satoshi comes back and he's like, oh... So, and he finds out about this, maybe from Rika. He wouldn't be from Rika because Rika would obviously remember, but from somebody, he figures out, you know? And then he starts holding a grudge because he's like, damn, my sister's condition's been getting worse, and all you guys have been doing is giving her medication and shit that makes her feel worse. So I'm going to kill Takano and Tomatake, probably just because it's convenient at the time. Irie ends up killing himself afterwards, so it's whatever. Maybe Satoshi even dies, we don't know. But he kills Takano, kills Tomatake for their role. Maybe it's even like a warning to Irie. And then, at the end of it, he kills Rika too, because Rika's kind of like her guardian ever since he's been gone. And he gets back at her by killing her. I'm not saying that this is what's happened. What I'm saying is that it makes sense. Dr. Irie, I mean, Coach, I guess you're already doing that for them all the time. I suppose I should be nice to those girls too. So. Indeed, plus Rika was very nice to you today. I nearly forgot. I have to take that film to get developed first thing in the morning. It was such a wonderful experience. History, culture, the smell of it, everything about it was wonderful. Irie wondered what she could have experienced during the day. Tomatake could only smile and act like he didn't know anything. By the way, Takano, what do you think of what Rika told us near the end today? What are your thoughts? I want to believe that it's only paranoia. She did say there's no absolute proof either. What's going on? From what you've said, it sounds like Rika's showing some bad symptoms. Her test results from last week, I thought they came up pretty good, but did you see anything different, Dr. Irie? No, they were stable as always. If Satoko's results are a wave during high tide, Rika's are the quiet surface of a lake. Just like their personalities. So maybe this is, maybe this is true, like, maybe it's not a parasite, but there is another disease. And, I'm thinking that, like, sorry, I just saw a really funny post on my Twitter. Maybe everybody in the village is infected with it, like they were saying with the parasite. Maybe it's not actually a parasite, it could be a parasite, but let's just use disease, because it could be anything. Everybody in the village is infected with a disease, right? But it only flares up depending on certain circumstances, you know? And then that still makes sense for my Satoshi theory. It's just like, yo, you're using her as a guinea pig, whatever, you know, run down that logic. But, it seems like everybody has it kind of like dormant, and it just gets worse. So, what's a possibility of a sudden outbreak? What are you talking about? Don't tell me Rika's showing symptoms of the disease progressing. Rika asked us for something today. She wanted our protection because she feels like someone's gonna murder her. No way. Huh. Who would try to kill her? It's impossible. Rika's a beloved mascot here in the village. I don't think she has any enemies. I think it was just her imagination, too. Why does she think that someone's trying to kill her? If she's experiencing paranoia, she may be in the early L5 stage. She said she saw it in her dreams. She wants us to reinforce security around her because she feels threatened. For a young girl like that, it's not uncommon to get scared after having a nightmare. But we need to determine if this was really just a dream, or if she's showing early symptoms of the disease. Okay, let's give her an urgent checkup tomorrow. I really hope nothing is wrong. She's the most valuable person in the village. I hope she's okay, but what should we do if she is? Jiro. If that's what she wants in return for what she showed us today, it's not even a big deal. If she's worried about her safety and wants to rely on us, I think we should support her. That's what paying her back with our hearts is all about. You're right. Even if she was just dreaming, we'll lose her trust if we don't support her. This is our chance. We found a way to show her our appreciation. I agree. Besides, she has a right to seek that support from us. We have to make sure to protect her at all times. That's true. Though that's your job, not mine. So please give her your best. Understood. So I think this makes even more sense now, furthermore, that Irie doesn't get killed because whoever it is whoever's directly protecting Rika at the time. So maybe Rika is right about, you know, about them being connected to her. Because, like, of course they're connected to her in a way, but like I was saying earlier, we don't know if it's a necessity for them to be, you know, but it's probably not so serious that we need to bring in the Bloodhounds from Tokyo. Hee, true, you can't ask them to come over just because Rika Furude had a nightmare. Alright, I'll order at least 4 members of the Mountain Dogs to watch her 24 hours a day. Yeah, dude, they're undercover cops. That's impressive. It's tighter security than when I went to Tokyo. Hee. She deserves special treatment. Oh, and you know what? This makes even more sense. I still don't trust Tomatake, okay? I'm putting a big sussy on him. Because remember where Mion and them went when Keiichi got killed in the bad ending in Chapter 5? They were in Tokyo. You know? Little bit sussy. I don't know. Little bit sussy. I don't know about that one. So, she deserves special treatment. I'll make sure she gets the best security in the country. No one would dare plot an assassination on her. I'll get the best bodyguards out there. Not even a super spy could lay a finger on her. Onikafuchi Banzai. Okay, let's write this down here. Takano and Tomatake are like undercover military of some kind. Irie is working on something as a member of the infectious disease. It was the IDSC, right? Infectious Disease Something Committee. Well, I mean, and then of course, he would have explained, you know, whatever happened. I forget what the S was in the IDSC. Infectious Disease Something Committee. What was it? Infectious Disease? What the fuck was it? I read it on the fucking badge and I can't remember it. IDSC. Infectious Disease. Dude, I gotta go back in the VOD. Because I can't Google it because I'll fucking get spoiled. What the fuck? How do I not remember this, man? I literally was just doing this. Infectious Disease Surveillance Center. That's what it was. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna write a note here. Okay, this is what I put. Takano and Tomitake are undercover military of some kind. I'll do /government, but it's probably military. Because it sounds like they were talking regiments and stuff. Takano and Tomitake are undercover military government of some kind. Irie is working on something as a member of the Infectious Disease Surveillance Center. Seems as though there is a disease dormant in the village, but it doesn't necessarily flare up at all times. Hard to know whether or not everyone has it or just a select few. And I also put, I think Takano is working undercover there at the clinic, or I should say working undercover at the clinic, somewhat like being deployed. While Tomitake only comes periodically, and I put Tomitake is stationed in Tokyo. I don't think Takano and Tomitake are evil, but given Keiichi being assassinated in Chapter 5 and the bad ending in Tokyo, and the scene in Chapter 3 with Takano in the forest, I can't say for certain. They don't seem bad, but... Okay. After looking through the items that had been donated for the auction, we had realized that there was nothing kids would be interested in. Keiichi insisted that the show wouldn't be a success unless there was something that kids would beg their parents to buy. He's probably right. For that reason, we went to the toy store again today. We were trying to get the owner to donate something that would interest all the kids attending the festival. I see. I did get to sell off my old stock. I mean, you know, different games the other day because of you guys. I want to support you if I can. My grandma wants the auction to be something that both kids and adults can enjoy. That's what she's hoping for. You understand? Can't you help us, Uncle Yoshiro? Well, if that's what your grandmother wants, okay, I'll do my best. I don't know what she would say to me on New Year's Eve, or New Year's if I refused. Wow, I guess Mion's grandma's pretty scary. Wait, there's actually no shot Tanner Rourke was getting paid that much money. He was making $14 million a year? Dude, he's terrible. He has like a career ERA of like fucking 5. I'm sorry, I'm reading something here. Whatever. We've never met, but I've heard of how terrifying she can be. According to Shion, she enjoys ripping people's nails off. That's just she trying to scare you. I know Mi's grandma very well. She's a very nice lady, as long as you're polite to her. I'm impressed that she can refer to that monster as a nice lady. She's scary when you're not polite. Also, she's scary when you don't show proper respect. So you're saying that she wouldn't be nice to me? Okay, we have a deal. He said we can take some stuff. His laugh was a painful one. How come the people in this village always listen to Mion? It's the power of the Sonozaki family. Mion is like their princess. No one would dare contradict her. You're also the princess of the Furude family, aren't you? Hee hee, thank you. The members of the Sonozaki branch families who own businesses usually get their funding from Mion's family. They can never go against the will of the main branch. The Sonozaki family made a fortune on the black market after the war, and they've invested those funds as capital into businesses run by their family and the villagers. They charge almost no interest and require no co-signers or collateral. So as long as one gives a proper explanation, they'll provide a notable sum. The money has to be paid back, of course, but it's lent between family and community. They're willing to make some adjustments if one goes begging. For that reason, everyone is borrowing money from the family. And that, more than anything, is why they can never refuse a request from Mion. Alright, try and find something that might be interesting to kids. I need something big in size. It's not that exciting to sell a deck of cards. They're going to sell that big plushie. Big things will attract more attention, so we need to look for something big and expensive. Leave it up to me. I'm very good at finding things like that. Let's try to be considerate of the owner too, everyone. Wow, look, Rena, this stuffed animal's so cute. What? It's adorable. I'm taking all of them home with me. You guys, please don't take too much, okay? The shop owner smiled bitterly at us. Unlucky. What do you think this is, Keiichi? It says swing on it. It's like a playground kind of swing. Wow, it's so heavy. Must be a build-it-yourself swing. You can build it inside the house or outside in the yard. It's not as big as the swings you see on the playground, but it's big enough for little kids to play on. It's fun in the beginning, but they'll eventually get bored with it, and it'll be used to hang the laundry on instead. It sounds like it's coming from experience. Did you have one of these, Keiichi? In my last house. I got it for Christmas when I was little. It looks really impressive, doesn't it? It's a good choice, Rena. Here, okay, stick this paper on it. People from the council will pick it up later. Mion handed Keiichi a piece of paper that said Town Council on it. She was carrying around a whole stack of them. She's really thorough when it comes to things like this. Keiichi, how about this one? It's a small pool you can... Is Satoko trying to start the hot tub meta? Even though it's actually the kiddie pool meta? What do you think, Mion? Well, in Hinamizawa, you can always go to the river if you want to play in the water. I don't know about that one. Damn, is this Mion coming out against? Dude, is Mion just even more viciously based than I thought? Is she coming out against the fucking hot tub meta? But this goldfish pattern is adorable. I think this pool is a good one, I think. I think so as well. Doesn't it just look perfect for setting up all kinds of traps? No way, no way. I'm the one who's gonna end up trapped in there. We're not taking this one. How about this one? It's an elephant slide. That's pretty pog. I think this one is nice too. I want to take it home with me. If I push Satoko off the top, she would roll down like a ball. Wouldn't that be so much fun? Don't you think so, Hanyu? Stop being so mean to Satoko. That one's nice too. I'm taking it home with me. Alright, let me stick this paper on it. We enjoyed the privilege of picking donations for a while. I started to feel bad seeing the owner's troubled expression. I patted him on the head to try and comfort him. Wow, this is Mahjong. What is it, Kei? Keiichi found something in the tabletop game section. I walked towards him to see what it was. There I saw a green mat on the table with the Mahjong tiles all lined up on it. They were arranged in a square shape as if someone was playing there until just a few minutes ago. It's Oishi, of course. Huh? What's this, Uncle Yoshiro? Were you playing Mahjong at work? No, that's not it. I expected to see board games and card games in the toy store, but not Mahjong. Guess it isn't weird for a toy store to sell this, though. Wait, is Mahjong usually done for gambling, or what? I actually have no clue how to play Mahjong. It's so confusing to me. You know what? We'll do some Mahjong research later. Wow, it's been a long time. I think I've forgotten most of the rules. Oh, it's incredible for a girl like you to know Mahjong. What's that supposed to mean, Keiichi? Let me guess. You guys played this at club, right? It must have been the end of last year. Of course, I was very good at it, too. There were lots of traps lying in my discard pile. Mion, listen here. You had 4 young girls together and you played Mahjong at school? Hey, Kei, you can't underestimate this game. Hinamizawa gets a lot of snow in the winter. The whole village enjoys Mahjong in those months. We hole up inside a warm room and enjoy some tangerines and Mahjong. We turn on the end of the year music program on the TV. That's what winter is like here. It's probably how the Sonozaki family spends its winter. That doesn't mean the whole village does that. I forgot that Hinamizawa gets lots of snow in the winter. I see. I guess Mahjong would be the standard game adults play around the Kotatsu. Okay, Mahjong is a serious game. It's a necessity in every man's social life. When they sit around the square jungle, they become Seiryu in the east, Byakko in the west, Suzaku in the south, and Genbu in the north. Abandoning their hierarchy and squabbles, they fight on equal terms. It's the same spirit as in the ancient Olympic Games. See? Isn't it amazing? I'm less concerned with that, I'm more afraid of what kind of punishment you'll set when you bring it out at club again. You know how to play, Keiichi? My dad loves it. He always forces me to play when he doesn't have enough people to play with. I don't know if I'm good, but I know the rules. I don't know how to calculate anything, though. Anyway, why is there a mahjong table here? Bro Ishii's coming out of the washroom. Everyone looked at the owner. Well, I was talking with a customer this afternoon, and he said he could show me how to do the Tsubame Gashi, or Gaishi? I don't know how to say that. What? Did you say that? Tsubame Gaishi? I don't know how to say that. That's the greatest scam in the history of mahjong. It's the ultimate technique, developed in ancient China. Its power was so great that the emperor of that time banned its use. I didn't know there were people who could use it in this era. By the way, this is a secondhand story I got from my father, so I can't guarantee the authenticity. Tsubame Gaishi Kid. You know what? I'm just gonna hear them say it. Oops, wrong button.
いやね、お昼に来たお客さんと話してたら、ツバメ返しができるって言うんで、
Tsubame Gaishi. I think I was saying it right. Tsubame Gaishi? Isn't that a technique of Musashi Miyamoto's? How does that involve mahjong? It's a bold technique where you switch your hand with the wall in a flash. Hey Mion, why would you teach something that bad to an innocent girl like this? I want to see it. Can anybody do it? Can you try, Rika? I only know about it, I can't do it myself. Satoko, weren't you practicing it a while ago? Wait a minute, Satoko. Don't practice something like that at your age. Well, she's a trap master. Sounds like something that she would do. Oh ho ho ho. The best time to set a trap is when the opponent is sure of his victory. So did you ever get to master it? You were practicing, right? Well, I could never use it in a real game. Even in practice, I only succeeded once or twice. Wow, I want to see it. Do it for us. I want to see it too. Very well, you all. Don't laugh if I can't pull it off, alright? Satoko sat in front of the table and started piling up the tiles. Do you really think Satoko can do it? Well, I don't know. It'll be amazing if she can do it, and cute if she can't. I don't care if she makes it or not, because I enjoy seeing her act shy like this. So basically this is cheating. This is just a way to cheat. Good to know. Well, I don't know. It'll be amazing if she can do it, and cute if she can't. I don't care if she makes it or not, because I enjoy seeing her act shy like this. Well, first of all, you start by planting the tiles you want into the wall ahead of time. I see. Then you later swap them for your hand. But how? Sleight of hand? Huh. Well, you instantly swap all the tiles from your hand with the planted tiles. This is a scene I'd love to show you all through an animation video or something. Since we can only use words here, please make up for it with your imagination. I have no idea who me could be talking to. You say, looking at the camera. Okay, dude, are you ready? Everyone gulped and looked closely at the table. Satoko moved her hands like a swan on a lake. She had 13 tiles in front of her. Then she silently flipped all of them face down, then she lifted them up by holding both ends and silently placed them against the back edge of the wall, keeping them hidden. This is it, Satoko. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try. We all went quiet. Satoko reached out towards the Yamahai, then she grabbed the whole thing with her small little hands. Let me explain how hard it is to pick up the wall for those unfamiliar with mahjong. Your hand is usually made of 13 tiles. If you push into them from either side hard enough with both hands, you can lift them all up. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. You might drop and scatter them if you're not experienced, but it's not that difficult. It doesn't seem that hard. If you push too hard, yeah, the middle ones the force would, and you would spray them. However, it's not that easy for the wall. The Yamahai usually consists of 17 tiles, and plus there are 2 rows on top of each other. This is the important part. It's not as simple as lifting up 2 rows of 17 tiles on top of each other. You must lift up the 17 tiles from the top row, and only the 4 tiles on the edges of the bottom row. 4 tiles on the edges of the bottom row? Wouldn't there only be 2 on the bottom row? Am I just misunderstanding? Because if you have like a row, so if you had like 17 by 17, so if you have like 34 tiles stacked on top of each other in 2 rows of 17, so 2 by 17, then how the fuck would there be 4 tiles on the edges of the bottom row? There'd be 2. Whatever, I don't care. By setting them on the 13 tiles from your hand placed behind the wall, you can bury your hand in the wall and then lower 13 tiles that remain from moving the wall become your new hand. This is the ultimate technique, the Tsubame Gaishi. It's a technique that lets you switch all 13 tiles in a split second. You can do it, Satoko. I can see Satoko trying to concentrate. She was supposed to be doing this more naturally since it's a technique for cheating, but since for the moment it was just for performance, I suppose it's fine. Someone audibly swallowed, and in that exact moment, she made her move. She'd put too much strength into it. Her tiles fell apart. You can't do it. It's not that easy, you know. I see, but I think I understood the gist of it from Mion's explanation. Let me try it. I'm gonna try it too. I guess I have to master this one now, or else it'll be troublesome later on. I'm trying it too then. All of us except Mion took a seat and started piling up these tiles. At a glance, you look like small children who are just playing with the tiles. But they're actually practicing the Tsubame Gaishi. I'm proud of how my club members are growing up to become decent kids. My hands and Satoko's hands are about the same size. If she can do it, I know I can too. Of course, see, this is the only thing I don't want to, I don't like this, like, change from, like, the mood that we were in, okay? I don't care about this little slice of life dog shit. Get back to the game, you know? Like, we were just playing around, but I was having a good time. I've never done this before in my 100 years of life. I think my hands are slowing down. I'm so frustrated. It's just so hard to lift them. It's just so... Fuck! It's so hard just to lift up the first 13 tiles. Listen, Rini, you have to use your pinky fingers. There you go. It's gonna explode if you push too strongly. But you have to use enough strength to lift it up. It's difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult to lift up the first 13 tiles to begin with. Not everyone can get past this stage. Satoko was doing well the first time, but she lost her concentration and is dropping her tiles now. I took Keishi's advice and supported the tiles with my pinky fingers and lifted it up. Oh, I did it. Meep, I lifted up the first 13 tiles. Good for you. Rika has a lead on us all. Or has a lead on us. We need to do better. You're good at this. Can you do the next step? It's not that easy, but I really want to get it right before anyone else. That's what we're racing towards right now. I'm gonna do it. Is Rika gonna be the first one? You're done if you pull off the next move. But that one is so difficult. Go, Rika. Okay. This is stupid. Oh, great. It's Oishi. Now I'll start reading again, so we can stop getting past boring dog shit I don't care about. What's going on in here? I suddenly heard a low voice. Keiichi and Rina dropped their tiles as soon as they heard it. Hey, Oishi. What are you doing in a toy store during working hours? Hello there. Don't worry, I'm off duty today. You mean bad luck today? What are you all doing here, huh? It looked like Oishi was ordering something from the owner. I wondered what the old guy wanted from a toy store of all places. Mion was wondering the same, and she asked him instead of me. My mahjong mat is warped because I kept it rolled up in storage for a long time. The green cloth is peeling off the underside of my kotatsu board too, so I couldn't use that one either. You play mahjong at home. It's a nice way to spend your day off. Perhaps you got in trouble at the mahjong bar and they banned you from going in there or something. No way, no way. I'm a gentleman in any public establishment. I'd never cause any trouble like that. Anyway, you kids like mahjong? I figured that young people didn't even know about the game. Oh god, please. Can we just get this over? Nice. Is the game quiet? What happened? There's no music. Okay, it's not me. I'm sorry. I'm being a little bit petty here, but I just don't care. I'm sorry. I just really don't care about this at all. So if you're watching this in the VOD, skip like 5 or 10 minutes ahead to when this is over. Because I don't care about mahjong at all. I'll read this stuff, but I'm not reading it out loud. Jesus Christ. My heart was pounding and I had the strong feeling that I'd roll a 6 every time I threw the die. I should roll it again. I think I'll roll a 6 again. I'll know it before I roll it. I will roll that 6, and I will finally defeat my deadly fate. Welcome to our store. Oh, there you are. Oishi, I got it for you. Oh, Takasaka. My heart started racing. The voice sounded so familiar. I'd heard it before, but that couldn't be right. Hanyu always warned me. Don't expect too much. It couldn't be him. Oh, Akasaka, thank you very much. Do you have any trouble finding the store? I'm sorry, I got lost. Who knows where I would be now if that nice postman didn't help me. So wait, this is wild as fuck. Akasaka's here. Oh god, my fucking knuckles. A young man was standing there. Damn, yo, chill. He was wearing a casual outfit and holding a plastic bag in his hand. I always thought Akasaka wore a shirt and tie. He also seemed much smaller. He looked at me as I stared at him. Normally you look away when you make eye contact with a stranger. Now that you stare deeper. We stared at each other, but we stared at each other without averting our gazes. Is that you, Akasaka? And you are Rika. Huh? You know him? Akasaka, you knew Furude? It's a big surprise. It's been so long. You grew taller, didn't you? You seem stronger too. This is Mamoru Akasaka. He's a detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Public Safety Department. He sometimes shows up in Hinamizawa in 1978. He has no relation to Hinamizawa or my deadly curse, but outside the village he's the person I trust the most. I've asked for his help in the past several times, but nothing ever came of it. He's from so far away, he forgets about me once he returns to Tokyo. That's why I'd given up on him. Why are you here in Hinamizawa again? I left my daughter with my parents and I came here on a trip with my wife. Your wife? Yeah, she's not dead, I guess. Yes, you saved her life. You must have no idea. Akasaka loves his wife so much. Was it 5 years ago? He was in Okinomiya for a business trip, but he suddenly abandoned his job to return to her side. Ah, so he heeded Rika's warning at that time. And so his wife didn't die. So this is the difference. Ouch. It's so romantic. You warned me that something bad was gonna happen if I didn't go back to Tokyo. That really concerned me, so I went right back to the hospital where Yuki was. Then I heard that a janitor got in an accident on the stairs that led to the rooftop that day. The tiles on the stairs were loose. The janitor fell down the stairs and got seriously injured. I knew that was gonna happen because I'd seen him lose his mind after hearing about his wife's death and a life I lived a long time ago. Falling down the stairs seems like just the luck of the draw. I don't think it would happen all the time, but it happened to him over and over, so I thought there must be some kind of reason behind it. I guessed it was because of the broken tiles on the stairs. If he didn't show up at the hospital that day, his wife would have gone up those stairs. It was her daily routine, but she didn't go because he showed up. Meanwhile, the janitor went up the stairs and got injured. Rika saved Yuki's life. I'm not sure if that's really true, but Akasaka has no doubt that you saved his wife's life. He really wanted to meet you again. Rika's good at predicting things sometimes, though. Because she's the reincarnation of Oyashiro. Oops. Kuma and Sato should be here soon. We have to hurry, Akasaka. Well, Maebara, let's do this again. I'll teach you something more useful next time. Sure, thank you very much. See you again, Rika. How long are you staying here, Akasaka? I'll be here until after Watanagashi. kind of long for a vacation, isn't it? They told me that I need to use up my vacation days. I just finished a big job, so my boss told me to take some time off. I'll be there at the festival. I've heard that it's going to be a huge event. That's right, it'll be more than just the drinking party you had last time. Akasaka, let's go. You saved Yuki's life. I'm going to make it up to you one day. When that time comes, I'll lend you my strength. I will be killed in June of 1983. It's been 5 years and I'm stronger and more experienced. I'm Bill Dipperly now. I'm sure I can help you. I felt like I rolled a 6 without even throwing the die. Akasaka followed Oishi and ran outside into the bright sunlight. Hanyu, does this also seem like luck to you? It seems like fate is on your side this time. Remember that day we held a club activity in this toy store? The moment I refused to play the fishing game, this world started changing. My strong will is changing the path of fate. My strong will is going to change my fate. If I have a strong will, I can also change these results. We rode our bikes back home together. I was in a good mood. I almost felt like humming a song. I could feel my deadly fate slowly falling to pieces. I felt like my fate was urging me to move on. Just like the sun and the moon during an eclipse, the wheels of my fortune were perfectly matched for the first time in a long time. This really might have been a miracle. This wasn't like the true miracle of Keiichi remembering the past. It was good fortune within expectations. But when it was arranged this well, it was enough to be considered a miracle. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so good in June of 1983. My name's Rika Furude. My ominous fate was moving away from me. With each step I took, that deadly fate withdrew further and further. I'd have to stay strong and take advantage of this miracle. I moved forward at high speed. Watanagashi was so close. My luck and effort had brought about a miracle, and so I will defeat my fate. This time, for sure. Go for it, yay. The next moment, something happened. Keiichi had accidentally scratched a motorcycle that was parked by the street. A group of 3 delinquents were trying to intimidate him. What shall we do? Just watch. I have the power to get rid of them now. I think we should call the police. Don't worry, Satoko, leave it up to me. Rika? Hey, Rika! I walked towards the delinquents even as they grabbed Keiichi by his collar. What the hell are these pathetic guys? Are they trying to stand in my way when I'm trying to have a happy future? I should teach them that nothing can stop me now. I know I'm rolling a 6 without even throwing the die. Say something, you punk. Are you listening to me? They continued to grab Keiichi's shirt. Keiichi, Mion, and Rina were staring at them with a vicious look in their eyes. I got in between them. Huh? What the hell do you want? Ouch. Get the hell out of here. Don't even think about ruining my fate. I plucked his nose with my fingers again. He never expected that a little girl like me would attack him. He seemed surprised, but he quickly returned to being angry. Then he picks me up by my collar, too. Rika, stop it, you jerks. Let her go. Rika, do you have a plan? No, I don't, but I'm trying to prove that this is nothing compared to the power I have now. If I can't deal with this situation, I'll never escape from my deadly fate. I rolled a die knowing what I was going to get. I knew that I'd be rolling a 6. The next moment, 2 men in working overalls came up to the 3 delinquents and tapped them on the shoulders. Let go of her. She's just a little kid, you know. Who the hell are you? They started the fight. Shut up and go away. Those working men weren't just random people who were passing by. I knew who they were. Let's have a talk over there. One of the men pushed the 3 delinquents to the side of the street. The other man spoke to me in a calm voice. Are you okay, Rika? Thank you very much. You saved us. He lent me his hand so I could stand up. Off with you now. We'll take care of the rest. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. Are you sure we can go now? Yeah, don't worry about us. Thank you very much. This is probably the security detail that Takano and Tomotaki were talking about. Thank you very much. I can hardly believe that Keiichi was so weak. Let's go, everyone. We got back on our bikes in a hurry and left the scene. They had no idea who saved us, but we're glad that all of us were safe. But I knew who they were. Those must have been the security guards who worked for Takano, yeah. Takano kept her promise. Those guys are professional bodyguards. They only do what they're ordered to, but they make sure their mission is complete. If Takano told them to protect me, that's the best protection I can get. After we left the scene, a white van with 2 men in it followed us. Nightingale reporting in, R is moving to the safe zone. We will continue escorting her. This is Heron, roger that. Everything was working in my favor for the first time ever. The pedal seemed so light that day. I felt like I could fly into the sky if I wanted to. End of the chapter. Excuse me. My throat's been bothering me. Okay. Oh, great. Rina. Here's your plane ticket. Don't be late. You'll get the rest of the money when you get there. Thanks a lot. Here, Mamiya. Thank you. I've always wanted to go to Sapporo. Are you sure Hojo isn't suspicious of you? Don't worry, he's stupid. He's got a big dick and a big attitude, but that's all he's got going for him. Huh, is that so? God, excuse me, my throat is driving me crazy today. The next moment, they heard several cars coming towards them. The man looked out the window and saw 3 black cars screeching to a halt by the apartment building. Several intimidating men emerged from those cars. Some of them even looked up towards the window. He quickly hid himself behind the curtain. Shit, they're here, run. Are you serious? But why? Come on, Mamiya, they're gonna kill you. They heard the men running up the stairs. They sounded angry. Huh. We might be stopping like halfway through this chapter, because if my mom gets home with dinner, I am fucking starving. The fuck? What is happening? Water gun battle? It's a very humid day. Not even a slight breeze was blowing. It had been an unpleasant summer, one that wasn't only hot but swelteringly so. There were various articles of clothing hung out to dry in the messy apartment windows, but the lack of wind evoked an impression far removed from coolness. In fact, it only felt more oppressive. There were crooked houses and apartments lining the narrow, twisting road. In addition, there were planters and flower pots whose contents were beginning to rot, as well as bicycles and cars on the sides of the road, making it even more cramped, more oppressive, and all the more sweltering. Nobody who was in this place at this time was visiting it voluntarily. But in spite of what everyone might expect, a single motorcycle came rolling in. The motorcycle stopped in front of a 2-story apartment, one that could hardly be called neat, even as flattery. A man, fairly old and wrinkled, stepped off. It's Kimiyoshi, right? When a nearby housewife hanging out the laundry noticed him, she called out. I gotta mute here because I gotta clear my throat. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I have like a nasal infection or something, but... Well, hello there. It's quite hot today, isn't it? Ooh, you got that right. I feel like I'm in a boil out here. The fuck am I lit, dude? I don't even know what's happening right now. It's like a fucking... I am so hungry. Suddenly I got goosebumps all over my body. Felt like something bad was about to happen for no reason. Everyone gets this feeling in a different way. Some people get a oh my god, I'm going through puberty too. Some people get a twitch in their eyelids, or some kind of movement in their ears. In my case, I get goosebumps. Satoko was supposed to be cooking dinner tonight. We didn't have much inside the refrigerator, so I asked her to go grocery shopping. Is this supposed to be Teppei, maybe? I was watching TV relaxing while I waited for her. She was usually back by the time my cartoon was over, after which she'd start cooking dinner. But my cartoon was over, the news had started, and Satoko wasn't home yet. Satoko sometimes waited until they had a sale at the store. In that case, she'd usually come home late. That must be what was happening. It was too early for me to start worrying about her. But, I can't explain this feeling. But I feel extremely worried. Once I started feeling like that, I couldn't just sit in my room and wait for her. Hanyu, where are you? I thought she might know where Satoko might be, but she's never around when I need her. Hanyu is not with me 24 hours a day. She sometimes falls asleep and sometimes she goes out for walks. Though in her case, it's not a walk, but more of like a stalk. She follows people around when she finds someone interesting, and she enjoys observing them. Anyway, I had no choice. I'd have to find Satoko on my own. I had a good idea of which stores Satoko goes to. I should check those first. We're in Hinamizawa. If I asked people, they'd tell me where she went. Hello there, Rika. It's a blessing to see you here. Did Satoko come here today by any chance? I haven't seen Satoko here. I've been out here all day, so I would have seen her if she was here. I didn't even have time to say thanks. I ran to the next store. People were greeting me and waving at me. I'd usually smile and greet them back, but I had no time for that at the moment. Oh, wait, I just realized. This all makes sense. So, Rina Mamiya is gonna turn up dead here. It looks like it's just Teppei who did it. Or it's some other third party. But Teppei coming back, this is the result of Rina dying. They're gonna find Rina's dead body in the drain canal. It only makes sense. This is what I was asking for earlier, an explanation of what happened to her. So this is like when she tried to run away from Teppei. I wonder if there's going to be a problem where there's going to be a, what do you call it? Like, how do I put this? There's going to be like conflicting fates where either one bad thing happens or a totally separate other bad thing happens. So for instance, if we're thinking about like Satoko's suffering, right? Maybe Satoko and Rina, and I mean Rina as in orange-haired Rina, maybe they're, whoever suffers, it's like a binary problem. If Rina doesn't suffer, then Satoko does. Because if Rina doesn't suffer, that means that other Rina's not a part of her life, and maybe that's why she tries to flee the prefecture or whatever. And maybe that's why she ends up getting killed. And then when she ends up getting killed, Teppei comes back to town, and now you're stuck in a loop of trying to figure out another problem entirely. If that makes sense. I need Satoko in my life. I was able to survive for so long because of her support. Without her, this world would be so empty and boring. Satoko is nonchalant and optimistic, unlike me. I've learned so many things from her over the past 100 years, but I still need to learn more from her. Satoko. People stared at me as I ran by them, screaming out her name. I didn't care what they thought, though. Why are they looking at me like that? I'm looking for Satoko. Somebody tell me where she is. My heart was convulsing inside my body like a fish out of water. What little stamina I have. I hate my body for being so young. You know, the store on the corner always has a sale in the evening. She might be there. I went to a few different places, but I couldn't find her anywhere. The people I talked to gave me advice on where to go, but I couldn't find her in any of the places they suggested. I continued to run looking for her. I continued to run even when I bumped into people. I don't know. I had so many customers I can't remember. Ugh. There are only a few places in Hinamizawa where we can go grocery shopping. It shouldn't be that difficult to find her, so why couldn't I? I tripped on something in the street and fell flat on the ground. Ouch. I injured my hand on a small rock embedded in the ground. I didn't feel much pain even though I said ouch. Dude, I do that all the time. It just felt hot as if I had touched a frying pan. Suddenly, someone handed me a pretty handkerchief. Are you okay? Did you get hurt? Rina, did you see Satoko anywhere? Rina was carrying a grocery bag. I've heard that Satoko bumps into Rina often when she goes grocery shopping. They tend to choose the same stores. Satoko? No, I didn't see her today. Was she out grocery shopping? Yeah, you didn't see her. No, I didn't. But there's no way she would have missed the big sale at the market today. I was there, but I didn't see her. My brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. It took me a while to understand what Rina was talking about. I understood that Rina didn't see Satoko, but that wasn't the point. They had a huge sale in the market today. There's no way Satoko would miss that sale, but she didn't see her there. What was that supposed to mean? What happened? Did she leave her wallet at home or something? Well, I couldn't find the right words to explain. Should I tell her I feared that something bad happened to Satoko and that's why I was looking for her? No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't think too deeply about why she hadn't returned home. What's wrong? Can't I help out? Talk to me. I knew she was just trying to help me. I even thought I needed someone to help me just a few moments before. But now that she was here, I had no idea what I was supposed to say. No, that's not it. The truth is I know. Somehow I know. I wouldn't have to know if I was someone else. But I have to know this. Rika Furude has to know what's going on. I'd have experienced a world before where Satoko suddenly disappeared, but the possibility for that happening is as low as Akasaka showing up in Hinamizawa. It only happened randomly in my other lives. This is not the first time. It happened before, too. I should see it for myself. I needed to see if I'd gotten stuck inside a devastating world again. Will you talk to me? I'm sorry, goodbye. Hey, Rika. I started running. I couldn't pretend like I didn't know where she was. Please, don't tell me that I was blessed, only up to this point, that I'm about to fall back into my unfortunate fate from here on. I thought that this world was different. I thought I could move on to a happy future. I thought I would be able to defeat my deadly fate in this life, but this was just horrible. It was horrible that this was happening to this world. I was standing in front of the place that I hate the most in Hinamizawa. Yeah, it's Satoko's real home, the Hojo residence. I've been living with her since last fall, so this house was empty. In the beginning, she used to come back here to pick up her clothing and other necessities, but once she moved most of her stuff to my house, Satoko stayed away from this place. This was a sad place for Satoko because all she could remember of it was the horrible time she spent with her uncle and aunt and the memory of her missing brother Satoshi. That's why she never wanted to come back here. But that wasn't the reason I hate the house. It's because I know what happens whenever this house becomes an issue in my life. Oh God, please, please bless me with just one more fortune. I closed my eyes and prayed, and then I slowly opened them. The window was open on the second floor. I saw a faded curtain swinging inside. As soon as I saw that, my knees realized what was going on, even before my mind processed it. In the next moment, I lost strength in my legs and collapsed on the ground. I saw an unfamiliar motorcycle parked by the house. I also saw laundry and a futon hanging outside. I was certain that someone was living there. It was proof that someone was living inside this house. It's never good when there's someone living inside this house. This was very, very bad. Okay. This was very, very bad. I knew exactly why. I knew why, but I felt like I wanted to act like I didn't know. Rika? Satoko. Satoko went outside to take the futon and noticed me. Rika. Satoko looked down and forced herself to smile. I felt so sad. It wasn't just her expression. I could tell that her left cheek was red and swollen. Satoko, don't stay here. Let's go home. I took her hand, but she still looked down without squeezing back. Rika, I think I'm gonna go back to this house. Why is that? My uncle came back, and he told me we should live together in this house. I know that's not what you want. You don't want to live with your mean uncle. But I have no choice. If I go back to your house, he'll come and get me. I don't want to cause any trouble for you. She gave up with a sad smile. She looked exactly how she looked 1 year ago in 1982. Her uncle only slapped her face, and she's back to being the Satoko from 1982. The cheerful Satoko that I knew until yesterday could no longer be found. I took care of Satoko and tried to heal her wounded heart for over a year. She finally got her smile back. But her uncle took it all away with just one slap to her face. A broken soul can recover over time, but her damaged heart can never be fixed completely. I just took the broken pieces and put them back together. The cracks in her heart will always be there. That's why she wouldn't come with me no matter how hard I tried to pull her hand. She couldn't get over her fear. She knew just how scary her uncle could be. Satoko, what the hell are you doing? You better not go anywhere. I heard a disgusting voice from inside the house. Satoko stared at the ground. Her shoulders were shaking. Huh? Who the hell is this? He came out and stood right behind her. It's nothing. I just bumped into my friend. I don't care. Go inside and clean the bathtub. I want to take a bath, you idiot. Satoko scampered back inside the house like a terrified small animal. I feel devastated as I watch her go. Were you asking her out to play? I'm sorry, but she's busy taking care of chores. I'm her uncle. I've been out for a while on a business trip. I'm finally back in the village, you know? Liar. He only showed back up because his lover went missing. In another world, I once let my hatred out on him, but then he inflicted the anger in equal turn onto Satoko, so I couldn't allow the dark flame burning within my chest to reflect in my eyes. Since I couldn't make myself smile and I couldn't insult him, all I could do was give him a short bow and run away from the scene. You're intimidated by my scary face, huh? I heard his hideous laughter from behind me. I cried as I ran away. I couldn't stop crying. I thought this was a perfect world up until today. Why was God doing this to me? It was too cruel. But I couldn't give up yet. I couldn't do anything, but I still had hope for this world. I didn't think the luck I had until yesterday was just a random thing. I went back to my house in a hurry. Weird. I needed to make a phone call. I didn't know the number because it was my first time calling the place. I looked inside the phone book and found it easily. I made a call to that number. Owie. Oh, hello. Didn't expect to get a call from you, Furude. What can I do for you? I already knew that Oishi could never save Satoko based on what I've seen in my previous lives. For him, Satoko is only a good way to get at the Sonozaki family. Her uncle is probably his prey in that regard, too. Even if I talked to him about her situation, he would do nothing to save her. The only thing he'd tell me would be to call the Child Consultation Center. I want to talk with Akasaka. Is he there? Akasaka? He went to the hot springs in Wakura with his wife. Wakura? It's not anywhere near here. I thought he was staying here until Watanagashi. I heard he's going to stay in a hotel owned by a relative of his. I wish I could go too. What? You want to know where Wakura is? It's in the Ishikawa Prefecture, on the Noto Peninsula. No way. He told me that he was staying here until Watanagashi. I thought he meant he was staying in Hinamizawa. But did he actually mean this area of the country in general? Can you get a hold of him somehow? That was a meaningless question. There's no way I could get him to come here while he's enjoying his trip with his wife. Even if I talk to him on the phone, he'll probably only tell me to call the Child Consultation Center or something. I don't know where he's staying. I heard it's a very famous luxury hotel, so I can make a pretty good guess. But I'm sure they won't give me the room number since they're strict about customer privacy these days. Okay then. Did Akasaka tell you that he's coming to the Watanagashi festival? Yes, he did. He's coming back here after the hot springs. They stayed here for only one night and then left for the Noto Peninsula. I'm sure they'll be back before the day of the festival. He said he'd bring back a souvenir for you. How terrible. I thought it was too good to be true. I knew it was kind of strange for him to stay in a boring place like this. My luck seems to be turning. This might not be a surprise, though. Just like I can roll a 6 3 times in a row, I can roll a 1 3 times in a row, too. Happy things and unhappy things can happen with equal probability. Hello? If you want to leave a message, I'll take it for you. I looked at the calendar on the wall. I didn't know when he was coming back, but I was certain he wouldn't be for at least one more week. I thought back to the past to try and remember what happened. That guy will break Satoko apart in 1 week. I couldn't wait that long. I had to give up on seeking help from Akasaka. Well, that's okay. I still had one more option. One more person I could rely on. Keiichi Maibara. No, that's alright. Thank you for your help. I hung up the phone after thanking him. I couldn't make a phone call to the next person. I'd have to talk to him in person. Oh, never mind. I put my shoes on and headed to the Irie clinic. The clinic's hours were over for the day. There was usually no one here after that. Who's messaging me? There was usually no one here after that. However, since Tomitake was here, they should still be inside the building for a meeting. They had to be there. The front door of the clinic was locked, as I expected. I went around to the back door and rang the bell. The whole clinic is nervous when Tomitake is around. They usually ignore visitors, but I'm special. What's wrong? I heard you had an emergency. You need me too? That doesn't sound good. Irie and Takano showed up soon after I was taken to the visitors' room. If Rika Furude has an emergency, then it's a priority for these two people. I'm the most important person in the village. Could it be someone's trying to get you? You are protected at all times by the elite security of the mountain dogs. They've been watching you since the day we made that promise. I had no doubt about that. They saved me right away when we had that confrontation with those 3 delinquents. That's not it. I have a favor to ask. I want you to save Satoko from danger. What happened to Satoko? Irie doesn't have that much power alone, even if he really wants to save her. But Takano controls the mountain dogs, so she does have that power. In my previous life, I was never able to get help from the mountain dogs because I wasn't on good terms with Takano. This world is different. I have a better relationship with her in this life, and she even kept the promise she made. I trust their ability completely now. Teppei Hojo's back. That's horrible. It was mainly Satoko's aunt who was abusing her last year, but Irie knows her uncle was violent with her too. I told him that Satoko had gone back to the same condition she was in the previous year. I don't know what will happen. I need you to help me save Satoko. Irie seemed to want to do something for her, but he didn't know exactly what to do. What shall we do? Shall we call the police and let them know? I don't know about that. At the moment, it's not like anything serious has happened, is it? But it's only a matter of time. Something bad is going to happen if we don't do anything. I hate to say that it's only a matter of time. I knew how she was going to get abused and how she was going to end up. I've seen it in the past. I really wanted to tell them about it, but I couldn't do that. It hasn't happened in this world yet. They just think I was imagining it. I think you should call the Child Consultation Center first. I remember. Satoko made a false report to the Child Consultation Center once. I wonder if they would take her seriously. The answer is no. My friends contacted the Child Consultation Center several times in the past, but Satoko always refuses their help. She claims that she isn't being abused. The Satoko from 1983 might have asked for their help, but currently she was the Satoko from 1982. For her, living with her uncle reminds her of the time when Satoshi was around. She feels like Satoshi will come back if she can live strongly without always relying on her brother. Even if the Child Consultation Center were to take the case seriously, it's just too late. Tried to remember. In the most recent world I experienced, it only took a few days after Satoko was kidnapped by her uncle. It only took a few days for him to tear her heart apart. We had no time to waste. We need to take action quickly. We can't really do anything unless she seeks help. I think Dr. Irie can call the police, but that's about it. I'm very sorry. That's not it. I want you to help her, Takano. Irie and Takano looked shocked and both went quiet. They didn't expect me to seek help from Takano. You mean you want us to take a much bolder action? I'm here to ask for that. I wouldn't be here this late otherwise. I understand, but Irie, if you truly cherish Satoko, then please just listen to me this once, okay? Please save Satoko. In less than a few days, she'll end up in a horrible shape. That's already guaranteed. If we try to wait and see how things go, it'll be no different than watching her die. Have you forgotten how Satoko was last year, Irie? She's already reverted to that state right this very second. In a few more days, it'll be too late to do anything. All I could do was stare at him. Believing that Irie could see the future only I knew, the tragic end awaiting Satoko reflected in my eyes. Irie remained silent for too long, a time to call brief. Someone trying to think of some excuse to avoid the issue wouldn't go silent that long. He was recalling Satoko's terrible state last year, and seriously considering if my plea was as urgent as I made it out to be. I know that he really cares about her. That's why I need his help. What shall we do? Irie nodded and looked up. I guess he finally came to a conclusion. I hope it's a positive one. Takano, please do what Rika wants you to do. Irie, I remember how hopeless I felt when I couldn't do anything to save Satoko last year. I want to take this chance and save her this time. But doctor, Takano didn't think that Irie would make that decision. She seemed shocked to hear his response. I would like to ask you, as the director of this clinic, please help Satoko. Dr. Irie, what do you mean when you say help her? Please calm down. Satoko is very important to us. She's greatly contributed to our research for a long time. Protecting her is considered one of your work orders. Irie continued, though Takano tried to persuade him. Kyosuke Irie is asking you, as your boss, please save Satoko. I stared into Takano's eyes together with him. I thought you and Satoko were friends. Please help her as her friend. Aw. Help her, huh? It's a hypocritical way of saying it. You're not telling me to kidnap her and lock her up somewhere safe. You want me to help her so she can have a normal, happy life. In other words, you want her uncle dead, right? You have the right to make the ultimate decision of how you're going to save her. But if you don't want to, I don't mind making that decision. Dr. Irie, no, Section Chief. If we carry out your order, both you and I will be responsible for it. Are you sure you're ready for that? I'm also going to put this in a note. Maybe Irie's also a part of the military. Oops. Unlike me, Irie has many things to lose. I knew that Takano's words would shake him emotionally. However, Irie was determined. Yes, that's fine. Even if I'm called forward to defend my actions, that's better than betraying my own heart. An impressive show from someone who doesn't know what a hearing's like. Huh. If you do it quietly, they may not find out about it in Tokyo. Everyone would be happy that way. All risk and no reward. If you want, I'll show you more treasures in the shrine. I'll never restrict you from seeing those things, so please help me. The risk she's taking is larger than the reward I'm offering. That's about the only thing I can offer her. I don't care about the traditions of the Furude Shrine as long as I can save my friend from her suffering. Fine. I don't want to be the bad guy here. She forced a smile and accepted the favor I asked her for. Thank you, Takano. I want you to make the decision of how to save her. I'll have a meeting with Okanogi later to plan out the mission. Not later. It has to be now. She promised to save Satoko, but she still wasn't motivated for it. It'd be too late if she didn't do something right now. I tried to make Takano understand that this is an urgent matter. That's right. Rika and I want to see some kind of result now. I'm sorry for asking you at this time, but can you please contact them now? You guys are so passionate about her. Okay, it might take a few minutes. Thank you very much. No problem. It's an order from my boss. I'll do whatever I can. Just don't forget the promise you made, Rika. I promise. I'll even serve you some rice cakes and tea when you come to the shrine. Takano smiled slightly and left the room. Once we finally heard her footsteps fade away, the tension in the room dissolved. Irie offered me something to drink, but I refused. He must have thought everything was taken care of, but I couldn't relax until Satoko was physically returned to me. Irie, does she have enough medication with her? Her uncle will keep her locked inside the house, so she won't be able to come here for a while. Fortunately, I gave her a stock of medicine and needles last week. She should be fine for a while. However, her mental state can't be controlled by the medication. If she gets too stressed, that can really cause some damage. That will happen in a few days. Takano hadn't come back yet. I thought it would be bad news if she came back too early, but I started feeling nervous after she had taken so long. Irie insisted that I go home because it was getting very late. I couldn't go home and relax, however, until I heard from her that everything was taken care of. I had to wait for her to come back. I needed to deal with this tension until then. Over an hour later, Takano finally returned. Sorry it took so long. How did it go? She was looking for the right words. I got a very bad feeling from her reaction alone. Unfortunately, it won't go as easy as we hoped anymore. Why is that? There was a murder case in Okinomiya not too long ago. The police suspect Teppei Hojo of involvement in the crime, and they have him marked. A murder case? What do you mean? Yeah, so I do think it was him that did it. Some woman named Emiya laid her hands on the Sonozaki family's earnings and was murdered to set an example. Apparently the police have taken interest in the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozakis. Turns out that woman was Teppei Hojo's lover. Watanagashi is getting closer too. The police want to prevent the 5th curse of Oyashiro this year, so they've marked Teppei Hojo as the candidate for this year's victim and started casting their lines. What do you mean by lines? They suspect they can reel in the true culprit behind Oyashiro's curse if they keep their eyes on Teppei. So you mean she can't step in because she would be viewed, but the mountain dogs can't do anything to him until the police stop spying on him? No, I thought that mountain dogs could perform any mission no matter how difficult. That's only when we plan it out carefully with extensive preparation. Usually we take a long time to observe the target and we look for the right opportunity. It can take between 6 months and 1 year for a mission like this. Remember, we're a secret organization. We must remain out of the spotlight. If our secret is revealed, everything is over. It's too risky for us to target someone like him. Then when is the right opportunity coming? It will be after Watanagashi at the earliest. After the festival, the police will stop watching him. But that would be too late. She's saying it'd be after Watanagashi. I didn't even know if that was a day after or a year after. She also said it usually takes at least 6 months to prepare this kind of mission. That's too long. I thought this world was different. But that hope was slipping through my fingers. So how can we save Satoko? I think it's best to follow the rules. We should report this to the police or the Child Consultation Center. We can even talk to the school. I did that so many times, but it never worked. Irie and Takano were surprised. They had never expected me to raise my voice. In fact, I didn't think myself that I would react this way. But I couldn't keep my emotions in check after Takano suggested all those meaningless solutions. I've cooperated with you guys all this time. I never asked for anything and I just gave you my support. But now you can't save Satoko. With all that power you have, why are you so afraid of saving her? The police and public services are useless. You guys only take advantage of us and never actually help. Fine, I get it now. I now know that this world is nothing but a dead end. I'm not interested in you guys anymore. I don't care about this world anymore. That's right, I can never escape my fate. It's the same old fate that I keep on repeating. You just burn to death in the mountains, you take sleeping pills and commit suicide. I'll die just like I always do too. I'll lose my life without knowing how I'm killed. This life is nothing but a dead end. I was born to be killed in this world. There's no meaning to this world anymore. I was so lucky up until yesterday. I had so much hope in my heart, but it had all been for nothing. It felt like everything was falling apart. I've lived for more than 100 years. I've lived longer than a normal human lifetime. I thought I was blessed with good fortune for the first time in my life. This would never happen to me again. I thought a miracle had occurred, but everything was shattered. I cried and cursed this world. I needed to give up on my life as soon as possible. Satoko would be waiting for me with a smile on my next one. I wanted to go see her. But what would happen to Satoko in this world? What would happen if I abandoned her? I didn't know, and I didn't care. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. I'm a witch who has lived for 100 years, but I still couldn't rid myself of the human emotions in my heart. I didn't get anything to eat because Satoko was supposed to be making dinner tonight, but I didn't have an appetite anyway, so I figured I should just go to bed. I still had to make lunch for the next day, though. Satoko might come to school tomorrow. I rinsed the rice, hoping that I wouldn't have to waste the lunch that I was making for the two of us. I had to stop thinking like that. I already knew it was a waste to make her lunch. I already knew that Satoko wasn't coming to school ever again. I felt so miserable while rinsing the rice. The tears started dropping into it as I thought about her. Why was this happening in this world? I wonder if this is going to be the world where Rika gets consumed by darkness. I thought everything changed when Keiichi gave the doll to Mion. In that world, Mion pretended to be her sister for a week and got closer to Keiichi. But that wasn't happening this time. I thought we would be having a good time until the festival. Huh? That's odd. Wasn't that club activity 2 weeks before Watanagashi? I had realized something. The club activity was exactly the same, but it happened 1 week earlier than in the world I knew of. It was 1 week earlier than in my previous life. I get it now. I thought I was familiar with this world, but it was actually a different one where the events are all mixed up. That means that even though Keiichi gave the doll to Mion, that didn't solve everything. I thought I was getting lucky. I was confident that everything was going to be okay. I stopped making an effort. I knew there was a possibility that Satoko's uncle was coming back, but I let her do the grocery shopping. I would have been more careful and kept her home if I knew that he was coming back to get her. I should be careful in my next life. But there wouldn't be a next life that was so fortunate. I didn't get lucky that often. Even if I locked Satoko inside the closet, it would be over if Rina's father messed up something or if Keiichi lost his mind. I have to clear up everything that's not within my reach, and I also have to make the best effort I can. Without that, I can't overcome the fate of 1983. In this life, I may be able to overcome my deadly fate with Takano's help, but Satoko will not be there in my future. That defeats the whole purpose. My goal is to survive this year while laughing with my best friends. I don't want to sacrifice Satoko in order to survive. I don't want to live in a world without her. I was blessed with all those fortunes, but I still couldn't defeat my destiny. I ruined everything because I stopped working so hard. I will never again have a lucky life like this. I lost my first and only chance. I cried and scratched at the floor. I didn't know if I should curse my fate or curse myself for not putting forth enough effort. Before I realized it, Hanyu was standing in front of me. I didn't know how long she had been there. She just stared down at me with a look of pity on her face. Hanyu, I know what you're trying to say. You want to tell me that you told me not to get my hopes up. There's no way I wouldn't get my hopes up, with it being the first time I was blessed with so many fortunate circumstances. I believed that everything would go well, but you were always telling me not to expect too much. She probably felt something strange at the toy store that day. She realized that the date was 1 week off and this was not the same old world that I knew. She had realized early on that I still shouldn't be too excited about this life. I've been with you for a long time, so let me tell you this first before you ask me. I couldn't predict what fate held for us today either. The only advice I can give you is this. Fate in this world is as fickle as the weather, nothing more than a trifle unworthy of joy or sorrow. There are 6 sides on a die. That's the reality of it, and it doesn't mean that the 6 is the best number either. I should just take any number that I roll. I shouldn't be disappointed if I roll a 1 a few times in a row. It's pathetic how I thought rolling a 6 was the best result you could obtain. I still have many things to learn even though I've been living for more than 100 years. I've told you several times, but this world is not a miracle. You wait patiently, you will come across a real miracle someday. How many decades am I supposed to wait patiently? How many centuries do I have to wait? We don't have much power left anymore. I don't think we can go back to a time before June of 1983. The amount of time we can rewind keeps decreasing. You're telling me to just repeat that short amount of time for years? I almost lost my mind when I was repeating a few years over and over again. But you're telling me to repeat 1 or 2 weeks for years until the miracle happens? It's impossible. I was betting on this world. I bet all of my coins on this one world, and I lost. I lost all of my coins to this fate. I have no more coins left in my heart. These coins are known as hope. I have no coins left to hope for my dreams to come true. I lay on the floor as if I collapsed. The floor should have been cold, but I didn't feel anything. I lost all of my hope. I always thought people could survive as long as they had some bread and water. But that's not right. People can't live without hope. People can survive because they believe that something good will happen to them eventually as long as they keep on living. But that's just for normal people who don't know what awaits them in their future. There's no such hope for a witch like me. I don't care about anything anymore. I don't care about this life and I don't care about the next. I just want to disappear and turn to ash. Rika, please don't say that. Hanyu's voice gradually fades away. I slowly lost my senses as I lay down on the kitchen floor and let myself sink into the darkness. I dragged my body to school hoping that Satoko might be there. But just as I expected, there was no one sitting in her seat. I felt all the more devastated just seeing it empty. I had nothing left to bet on. All I could do was get hurt and suffer devastation. Blood flowed from my broken heart and found its way out through my eyes in the form of tears. Something wrong, Furude? Is Hojo absent today? The whole class was wondering why I came in late today and why Satoko wasn't with me. But even if I felt sympathy for everyone's eyes on me, I didn't feel any promise from them. No one here was able to save Satoko. No one. No one could save her. Why should I have to keep smiling at all these useless people? This world's finished anyways. If I leave matters alone, then a few days after the Watanagashi festival, my movie reel will be cut as I'm murdered like usual and I'll return to the beginning of this month again. And so I'll continue to live forever in June 1983, trapped here. Even death won't set me free from that prison. Ride, please talk to me if something happened. Where's Hojo? Is she sick? Shut up. The whole class gasped. No one expected Rika Furude to talk like that. I myself made such blunt statements a few times in past worlds, but it was always the first time anyone in that world heard anything like that. That must have been very easy for them, and I envied it. Furude. Chie was standing there dumbfounded. I stood up from my seat. If Satoko wasn't around, I didn't want to be locked up inside of this humid place. I'm going home. I'm not coming here anymore. Goodbye. Felt like saying something like that. However, I retained the small hope that Satoko might go to school the next day, so I kept it to myself. However, Chie wouldn't let me go. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to the teacher's office instead. Chie told me to take a seat on a couch by the principal's office. She had no right to tell me what to do. I could just escape through the open window. As I didn't have that kind of energy, however, I sat on the couch as she told me to do. I realized then that I didn't even have the energy to be rebellious. Maybe Satoko felt the same. She lost the energy to rebel, and so she was simply obeying her uncle. Burude, please tell me what's going on. I'm sure I can help you. Chie spoke to me, but I already knew that her words were empty. All she could do was call the Child Consultation Center. She wouldn't go to the Hojo residence and pull Satoko out of there. There was no point in even discussing the topic with her. If I told her, she wouldn't keep it to herself, and shortly everyone would know about what was happening with Satoko. That would only result in chaos. If they call the Child Consultation Center, the staff from there will go and visit Satoko. Her uncle will deny the abuse, and Satoko will also deny it because of the guilt she feels over Satoshi leaving. Shortly after, they'll find out about the false reports Satoko made before, and decide not to proceed any further. Her uncle will allow Satoko to go to school for a few days, but his abuse will get worse because he'll think she's the one who called the Child Consultation Center. He'll do horrible things to her just like her aunt did last year. Calling the Child Consultation Center will not help Satoko. It will instead put her in an even worse situation. It's better not to notify them at all. But if we don't report it, then how else is this world supposed to improve? No, nothing is going to change. There's nothing that can be done once this unfortunate fate overtakes Satoko. You say Hojo's uncle is back, is that true? I had somehow answered all of Chie's questions without noticing. I knew that nothing would change whether I spoke to her or not, so I just told her everything because I had no energy to rebel. I understand what's going on now. This is horrible. So, now that you know what's going on, what can you do? She answered right away without faltering, already used to my spiteful tone. I'll visit her house today. I need to see Satoko and talk to her first. Then if there's a problem, you're going to call the Child Consultation Center, right? They have it on record showing that she made false reports in the past. They'll never do anything unless there's proof of abuse. They're just like the police, who don't start investigations until after someone's dead. They won't do anything unless Satoko's killed. When that happens, this is what both the school and the Child Consultation Center will say. We never saw this coming, she was such a bright girl. They'll just repeat the same words as if they were scripted. Huh, you people are idiots. I believe that the people from the center will do something about it. I will make sure to tell them that she needs help. You've done the same in previous lives too. I wasn't denying her passion, but I couldn't say there was any meaning to it. The problem wasn't with Chie, the problem was with them. No matter how hard Chie tried to seek help from child services, it meant nothing as long as they held biased notions about Satoko. Shion, it doesn't matter if they find proof of abuse or not. Suddenly heard a voice from the hallway. It was Shion's voice. Chie shouted, "Who's there?" And I heard Mion gasp, "Crap." They must have been listening to our conversation. They were having a quiet discussion outside the door, but Shion accidentally raised her voice. She gets so violent sometimes. 4 people entered into the room from the hallway. Mion, Shion, Keiichi, and Rina. I told you to stay in class. Go back to the classroom. We can't, not in this situation. What are you going to do if something happens to Satoko? Do you want to be responsible for that? There's no time to waste. We have to do something right now. My sister's saying that things will get worse unless there's some kind of proof of abuse, but it'll be too late once there is. Do you want to see Satoko dead, Mion? That's not what I'm trying to say. Like I told you, Satoko once made a false report to the abuse hotline, and they have that record at the Child Consultation Center. Without proof, they won't investigate her case any further. Just think about what that means. Okay, I gotta let my dog out. Let me put a thing on screen here. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Without proof, they won't investigate her case any further. Just think about what that means. It'll only make her uncle more furious. Stoko's situation will get even worse. What the hell? They're supposed to help her before something happens, right? Are they really not going to do anything unless she's seriously injured? Calm down, you two. I feel the same as she and Keiichi. I don't want to wait until something bad happens, but we need to think about what we can do. What can we do? Talk to the Child Consultation Center, right? If we had the guarantee that they'd help her, it'd be fine. But Mion, you're saying it's highly likely they'll put her case on hold, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what I think they'll do, just like last year. On top of that, she was in an even worse situation then. They put her case on hold even though Satoko was already in horrible shape. But this time, it's only been a day since her uncle took her away. Plus, her uncle has legal custody of her. We don't need to be so roundabout. All we have to do is ambush that bastard and kill him. Okay, Jesus, Shion. You can't do that. Satoshi wouldn't want that. Damn. You really pulling out the Satoshi card there, Ria. Be careful. Then how should we save Satoko? Satoshi entrusted me. He trusted me to look after Satoko. If anything happens to Satoko, I could never face him again. Having our hands tied until after Satoko's been thoroughly abused isn't an option. When a crime is taking place right before your eyes, is reporting it the first thing you do? No, it isn't. You stop it from happening. Damn right! I hate you, Shion, but kind of based. Okay, one sec here. We have to stop this ourselves. Calm down, Shion. You're the head of the Sonozaki family, aren't you? Use your powers to save Satoko. You can do it, can't you? You have enough power to save her. I know. The Hag's policy is to stay completely out of Hojo affairs because her grudge over the dam conflict, right? No matter what happens to Satoko, the Sonozaki main branch intends to ignore it, don't they? If neither the Child Consultation Center nor the Sonozaki family can save her, I have to do it on my own. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill that pig. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm not gonna take more than 1,500 seconds for me to get to her house and stab him to death. What can you do in 1,500 seconds? You can't do anything, can you? I'm going to do it. I'm going to help her. Let me go. Shion, settle down. Stop saying that or you're going to be in big trouble. They were desperately discussing how to save her. I just sat on the couch and stared at them vaguely. I had seen the same discussion many times in many different situations. I was tired of listening to it. The only difference was that everything was happening a few days earlier than usual. Rika, it's okay. I'm not going to expect anything good anymore. I don't have any hope left in my heart. Hanyu made a sad expression. I couldn't tell if she was sad about our fate or if she was taking pity on me. Just as she promised, Chie went to Satoko's house after school. It had only been a day since Satoko's uncle took her away. She wouldn't be able to tell if he'd hurt her already or not. If the students hadn't made such a big fuss about it, Chie would have waited a few days before going. She already knew, however, about what happened to Satoko the previous year. She also knew that her uncle was abusing her just like her aunt, and that he had neglected to act as her guardian for the whole year. Considering those factors, it might not have been too soon for her to visit the Hojo residence. Satoko hadn't shown up in school that day. No one had called the school to explain her absence. That alone was proof that her uncle wasn't taking responsibility as her guardian. Chie was going to her house to see what was going on with her own eyes. She parked the car in the street and checked the map she brought from the school. It said Hojo residence on the sign in front of the house. Chie was certain that this had to be the place. The window on the second floor was open, and she could see a curtain hanging there. From that window, she could hear the laughing voices of several old men. No one had answered the phone when she called right before leaving the school. She could also hear the clicking noise of mahjong tiles along with the voices. She had never played mahjong before, but had a pretty good idea that it was from the way that was it from the way the men were talking. If they were playing mahjong, there must have been 3 other men inside the house. Her students had told her that Toko's uncle was a very violent man. She was a teacher, true, but she was also just a young lady. She felt hesitant to ring the doorbell after hearing their disgusting laughter. But courage drove her forward. She made her decision and rang the doorbell. She heard the bell ring inside the house, but the laughing voices continued to echo from the second floor. It seemed as though they didn't hear the bell. She rang the bell again, and this time the laughter stopped for a moment. Someone must have heard the sound. But soon after, they started laughing again. It didn't sound like anyone was coming to get the door. She thought someone heard the bell, but perhaps not. Chie was sure they were home, of course. She couldn't leave just because no one was answering. She knocked and yelled loudly this time. "Hello? Are you home, Hojo?" Finally, the laughter stopped, and a man with a scary look on his face opened the door. "Who the fuck are you? Shut up and get the hell out of here." Chie felt intimidated by him, but her heart was filled with a teacher's pride and responsibility. "Hello, are you Hojo?" Before she could introduce herself, Teppei screamed at her. "Just shut up. I don't need no newspaper, no milk, no insurance. I'm busy right now. I'm working." The people in the room laughed when he told her he was working. Chie wouldn't give up. She continued to speak. "I'm the teacher at Hinamizawa Branch School. My name is Chie. Satoko Hojo here." "Huh? What the hell? What do you want with Satoko?" "I came here because she didn't come to school today. I wasn't able to get a hold of her, so I'm wondering what happened." "Huh? School? Yes. Is she home? I need to talk with her." "She's sick. That's right, she has a cold. Satoko's resting because she has a fever." "I need to give her some handouts. May I please see her?" "Fucking idiot. Weren't you listening to what I just said? Satoko is sick. She's sleeping right now. I can't let you see her." "I see. Do you think she can come to school tomorrow?" "Who knows? I won't know until then, you idiot." "I see. All right. Please tell her that I came by. Thank you." Chie bowed, but at the same time she lifted up her head, Teppei was no longer there. Yeah, he's a fucking loser. Big surprise. When Chie returned to the school, several students emerged from the classroom. They were Keiichi, Rina, Mion, and Shion. Rika was also still inside the classroom, but she wouldn't come outside. "Chie, how did it go? You went to Satoko's house, right?" "You were all waiting for me." "Chie, how was Satoko doing? Is she okay?" "Well, I didn't get to see her." "What the hell were you doing? You're a teacher, right? You came back just because he didn't let you see her." "Stop it, Shion. That's about what we expected. I'm sure Satoko has a bruise on her face by now. That's why he didn't want you to see her. You should have just ran into the house. I can't even trust you anymore. I'm sorry." "Stop it, She did the best she could." "Now we know for sure. Satoko's uncle definitely has her locked inside the house." "We knew that from the start. Rika's been telling you all day today. We wasted half a day just to find out if that's true. How the hell do you think you can help Satoko?" "Calm down. Let's make a plan. We care about her just as much as you do. We're not going to abandon her. Let's come up with a way to save Satoko." "I already gave you my opinion, didn't I? It's the best solution we have. I can handle it all by myself. I only need your help to hide his body." "Stop it, She. Stop saying such violent things. Murder is a serious crime. It's the worst thing you can even think about." "Give me a different idea. My idea is wrong, then give me a different one, even if it's only a little bit better. Come on. Come on. See? You can't even say anything. I can save Satoko. Okay, we don't need to do this stupid meme. I'll just drag his body to the Onikafuchi swamp and dump him there. I don't even need your help, sis. What's wrong? Why don't you come up with another idea for saving her?" "That's not the point. If you try to figure it out by yourself, that's all you'll think of. Let me tell you something. 1,500 seconds? It's taking way too long. I would save her within 1,000. If I were you, I'd just leave here silently and do what I want to do. Do you know why I'm not doing that? It's because someone told me once that even if it's the only option you have, murder is still something that you should never do. It's not the right thing to do, and it's never the best thing to do either. You just think it's the best solution because you're not thinking properly. Well, it's the most expedient solution." Long time ago, I don't know who told me this, but someone taught it to me. If there's something that troubles you, you can't think about it all on your own. You can't think that your own solution is the best way to conclude things. We should all think about it together. If we brainstorm, I'm sure we'll come up with a better solution. It's not about whether my idea is wrong or right. Just think about it. Every minute we waste puts Satoko in more danger. Do you hate the Hojo family that much? No one is supposed to help Satoshi and Satoko no matter how much they're struggling? I'm gonna help her. Get out of my way. I'm leaving right now. I'm gonna stab that loser and save Satoko. No, She. You guys should curse yourselves. Curse your powerlessness. Fine, brainstorm for another idea. You'll never come up with one. Just go ahead and neglect her. You never really cared about Satoko. You only think of her as someone you can play with, but I'm different. Bill Dipperly. She's more than just a friend for me. She's like my family. I care about her more than you guys do. I'm going to kill him now. Goodbye. Wait a minute. What is it? Are you trying to stop me? Shion, you're not understanding even half of what Rina's trying to tell you. What? I totally understand what she's saying. We can save her right away with just a little courage needed to murder him, but she's spouting hypocritical garbage to hide that fact. Shion, do you think Satoko would appreciate it if you saved her by committing murder? I'm not trying to seek her appreciation. I don't care what happens to me. Her happiness is all that matters. It's not right. You're talking tough, but I know you're scared. In fact, you asked Mion to help you hide the body. In other words, you want to have a normal life after killing her uncle. You want us all to be happy just like a few days ago. You want us to be back where we were. But if you murder him, we'll never be like that again. Do you think you can really commit a perfect crime? You'll be arrested for sure. I'm prepared to face that. If I could end Satoko's suffering by doing time behind bars, I'd gladly pay that price. No, that's absolutely not true. You would curse yourself, and I'd bet on that. You would curse yourself and regret it, wondering how you drew the short straw and became a murderer. Then you'd finally realize what you really wanted. It wasn't killing her uncle, it was returning us all to our happy lives. Your wish will never come true if you commit murder. Well, I mean, it could, just not for her. Satoko will also curse herself. She'll blame herself, thinking she's the reason Shion became a murderer. In fact, who's going to force Satoko to eat her squash if you get locked up? Who's going to talk about setting up mean traps with Satoko? You're supposed to do those things, Shion Sonozaki. You have to be by her side at all times. Don't kid yourself. What you're trying to do is not for Satoko. It's a huge mistake. If that's what you're saying, do you have any idea how to save her? You don't, do you? You're such a hypocrite. I said move. I'm killing him. I'm gonna kill him now. Keiichi blocked her away by standing in front of the door. Shion gave him a hateful glare, but he just sent her back with a confident smile. I can't let you go, Shion. The world we all long for doesn't exist without you. I'm not letting you go. Is that so? That means you're siding with Teppei Hojo. You're just as guilty as he is. I'm gonna bust your head open and kill you first. Hey, don't be stupid, Shion. See, I already knew I didn't like this girl. Quit it already. Shion, what are you gonna do with that chair? Stop it. Put that chair down. He doesn't understand that I'm serious. I have to show him how determined I am. You better get the hell out of my way now. Shion, I admit that right now, I have no better idea, but that's just for the moment. I'm sure that we will come up with a better idea eventually. I guarantee it. I promise you that we're gonna save Satoko, so please, okay? Trust your friends. If you're afraid of committing murder for Satoko's sake, you're not my friend anymore. I'm not going to tell you this again. Get the hell out of my way. Calm down and think about what you're saying. We will save Satoko somehow. Just trust us. Don't try and look for a shortcut. Trust your friends. Trust me. I, Keiichi, am gonna save Satoko for sure. You can bet on it. Shut up. I can't trust you. What do you think you can do for her? Shion. Shion threw the chair at Keiichi. It hit him hard and the chair fell to the floor with a loud noise, but Keiichi was unfazed. Damn, dude, look at that. Chat energy. Big chat energy. But Keiichi was unfazed even after being struck. He just stood in front of the exit without even covering his face. Bloody nose. Well done. Wait, he wasn't unfazed. A trail of blood was pouring from his forehead where the corner of the chair hurt him. Huh, that was nothing. You thought I would move out of the way? I'm not gonna move from here even if you kill me. If I let you go, we might never see you again. Satoko will think about you every day and her heart will be filled with sadness. If that happens, there won't be anything we can do to make her happy. It's gonna be a very sad life for her. I don't want Satoko to live in a sad world like that. The future that we want is a wild and riotous one, just like what we had until a few days ago. Of course, I won't let Satoko's uncle threaten her any longer. I haven't decided on how I'm gonna do it yet, but I know I will soon. I promise. So please, just trust me. Shion wasn't yet convinced, but even so she walked to the window and took her seat. Somebody rested a hand on Keiichi's shoulder. It was the principal. He'd been standing there and listening to him for a while. The principal is so base, dude. I still want to see, how have they not given the principal a fucking CG art yet, man? So unfortunate, man. Principal, well done. Chie, I've heard what's going on. Sorry for being so powerless. I know it's only been a day, but I think this is an emergency. We should report this to the proper authorities. But sir, she has called the Child Consultation Center before. They're not going to help her anyway. It's just a waste of time. Shion raised her voice. The principal looked at Shion and started talking. One sec, I didn't know my mom's home. Shion Sonozaki, there's one word that I really don't like. Do you know what that is? It's what you just said. The anyway that came out of your mouth. It is the cruelest word, which means admitting defeat before you even fight. By the time you've uttered that word, you've already lost your battle. I agree with him. I think we should try various options. Calling the Child Consultation Center should be the first on the list. If that doesn't work, we can try our second and third options. Don't give up before you try. That's just as bad as not helping at all. Principal, if you're reporting this, then you'll make sure to convince them that Satoko needs saving, right? Of course. Hojo's my precious student. I'll do my best so that they will save her. I mean, this is like... this is still totally pointless. This is the same shit that happened the last time around, you know? So... they'll try to take action as quickly as possible, so if we call now, they should get to her house later tonight. I hope they'll help her. But what if they put her case on hold? If that happens, we should come up with our next plan. As long as we don't give up, we can help her somehow. Whatever you guys say. Satoko's getting hurt as we speak. Who's the one abandoning her here? Shion, I just promised you. We're gonna save Satoko, not by committing murder, but by saving her in a way that will make her happy. You just watch us. I hate how much he says his name in the third person. It's so odd. Nobody talks like this. I'm promising you this. Shion stared out the window without looking at Keiichi's face. I'll try and find out what the consultation center decides tonight. I'll call everyone when I do. I hope they'll take her into custody. We can't be optimistic about this. I think there's a huge chance they'll put her case on hold. What are we going to do if that happens? That happens? Well, damn it. Chie, let's go to the teacher's office. We need to make this call. Yes, we need to make sure they really understand. They left the classroom. Keiichi, Rina, and Mion got together and discussed their other options. Shion was looking down and crying. Rika was just vaguely looking at them as if staring at a boring TV drama. Nothing will change. Child Consultation Center will put her case on hold. I've seen it so many times in previous lives. I almost hope that they will take her into custody just this once, but I have no more coins left to gamble on a hope like that. In a previous life, Keiichi killed Satoko's uncle, but Shion was not there when that happened. When she is, I suppose she's the one who takes on that role. Okay. Their pathetic hopes will be crushed by tomorrow night. Social worker will be at her house tonight, but Satoko will deny that she's being abused. Her uncle will assume that she was the one who called the service, and he'll abuse her even more. She'll come to school tomorrow because he doesn't want the Child Consultation Center to be suspicious of him. We will feel more and more hopeless when we see the dead look in Satoko's eyes. I've been living for more than 100 years, but I've never defeated this fate. The fate of her uncle's return. I was blessed with so much luck, and I thought I could defeat it this time. But in the end, it all came down to the same thing. It was a waste of energy to put in any effort. It was worthless. All worthless. The more I thought about this inescapable fate, the more I pitied these people for talking endlessly about how they were going to save Satoko. Wet blanket. Okay, how many chapters are left? Okay. There's 3 achievements that are tips, staff room, have a chat. There's 6 chapters left. Okay. So there's 11 chapters in this. Okay. We'll read this tip and we're stopping for the day. We'll finish this tomorrow. Wet blanket. Teppei returned to Hinamizawa to escape some trouble. He'd have to stay there for the rest of the summer, perhaps the whole year, and see what happened. For him, the house in Hinamizawa was like a rather dull hiding place. His lover Rina had suddenly disappeared. Rumors told him that she was involved with some dangerous deal. Some source even told him that she had already been caught and killed. Everyone he knew was aware that Rina was living with him. Everyone also assumed that he knew everything about what Rina did. They were convinced that he got money by tricking her into doing something, and as a result, some dangerous men came after him. That made it difficult for him to stay in Okinomiya. More than anything, it pissed him off to find out that Rina was cooking up something behind his back with some other guys. Hinamizawa was about the only place he could go. He couldn't go back to the house where he used to live with his wife, as it had been abandoned since he moved into Satoko's house. Besides, he didn't even have the key to his old place. But if he went to Satoko's house, she should still be there, and she should clean and cook for him too. Teppei didn't know how to cook or clean, and he certainly wasn't thinking of learning. Rina had often been rebellious towards Teppei. He had often said that he wanted to be with someone more loyal, like a pet. For Teppei, Satoko was exactly what he wanted. As Satoko's still a little kid, she can't satisfy him. Ooh, Lord, I'm not reading that. Stoko's dead mother used to be a pretty woman. Stoko might grow up to be... Oh, Lord, we are not reading this. The house was locked up, so he assumed that she was at the market for grocery shopping. He found her at the store and dragged her back home. However, the house was full of dust. She'd been living at her friend's house for the past year, and the house had been abandoned. Tepe exploded in anger. He told her that it was her responsibility to keep the house in order. He beat her and kicked her down to the floor. Eventually, Stoko's expression returned to what he remembered from 1982. Stoko started obeying him immediately and cleaned up the house. A new place to hide with a new girl. His new life was starting out pretty good. Tepe called his buddies to show off his new beginning and ended up playing mahjong with them. He bragged about his new pet and made her serve them food and drinks. He told her to walk on all fours like a real pet. She refused, but she obeyed immediately when he tried to hit her. Everyone was laughing and they were all jealous of him. Tepe felt really good about himself. However, someone arrived to interrupt his perfect life. Yeah. He thought someone was at his door to sell insurance or something, but it was a school teacher. Huh? What the hell? What do you want with Satoko? Yeah, we read this already. Oops, this is going to cause him problems, Tepe realized. Stoko was just a pet for him, and he had no intention of sending her to school. But her teacher had shown up at his house just because she missed one day. This wasn't good. Tepe hates schools, and he really hates teachers. I see. Do you think she can come to school tomorrow? Who knows? He was able to get rid of the teacher, but it would create more problems if he didn't send Satoko to school tomorrow. Tepe didn't need even more troubles on his plate. On his place. I don't know, dude. Tepe didn't even need more trouble on his place. Which I don't really... That meant he couldn't beat up Satoko like he wanted to. Violence was the only way he knew how to communicate. With that out of the picture, it was very difficult for him. He wanted to beat up Satoko, but that would leave evidence on her body. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to send her to school. If she didn't go to school, the teacher would show up at his doorstep again. On top of all that, the child consultation center paid a visit to his house that night. The teacher must have filed a report. That bitch, Tepe thought. Next time I'll beat her in the face so hard she'll need plastic surgery. Since Satoko was afraid of him, she pretended she really was sick when the social worker visited. It was so easy for Tepe to control her. Okay, I don't know. This is such a useless tip. We already know this. Yep. Okay, there you go. God, hopefully my throat doesn't fucking bother me as much tomorrow. We'll finish the whole thing tomorrow. Hopefully maybe start a little bit earlier too. Depends on when I wake up. Okay, thanks. Bye. Have a good night.